There we are.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's program.
Good mythical Wednesday. Good mythical morning.
Good
Is that
mythical Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday. Okay, yeah, this is Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday, not morning.
Nope. And I want to say hello to everyone and thank you for all coming on. Excuse me, we've got some special visitors tonight. Want to say hello to Richard and Sandy.
Hi, Richard. Hi, Sandy.
They're our neighbors and Joe's old return visit,
Yes,
but friends now.
and good friend.
Yeah, very good friend. And I want to say hello to Tammy. She is new, and Sergio, Rhonda, and a few more, but I think Joe wants to say something.
No, I just want to show something. Just a little bit of foreshadowing for what's coming up. And I'm not going to say anything about it yet. And that's a little bit of what's ahead of us.
Just a little preview. So we want to say hello to Jeannie Jewell and John Marciano,
Hello.
ST Copilot, Beverly Harward Dallas, Skylar Mendez Mosley, Anna Willis. Hello, Anna. Jane Spitfire. And let's see, we've got a lot on tonight already.
Somebody knows about Hermes.
Sky Graham. And let's see, who else is here? Of course, my good wife and De Real Love. That's Doreen. Okay, what did they say about Hermes? Someone recognized it?
Yeah, Jane?
Jane Spitfire?
Well, I think so.
Okay.
Someone.
Okay, well, good.
Somewhere.
So, yeah, we're reading in the live chat. For any of you that
Yeah.
are new, there's on ours, there's a live chat on the side. And we've got a nice show tonight. Got a lot of guests coming on. Gary Alt is coming back on. He's got something new. We're going to have Shannon. She's on our website for Life Coach. And maybe right now we should go to the website and mention our birthdays for the month of May. Okay. So we've got May 1st.
Linda James Apostababe.
Just Jen's daughter.
Chloe.
May 2nd.
May 2nd. May 3rd, Ruby Quinn. What did you want?
Well, I was going to say
something
Chloe is Dinah Lawson West's daughter. She was 3 years old.
else? Okay, gotcha.
May 3rd.
Ruby Quinn and Vicky Diaz.
May 4th, King Tony and Ismail.
May 6th, ST Copilot.
May 7th, Julie, Justin's fiance.
May 8th, Jimmy Bell, Tara Mears, and Marcus Vaughn. Popular day.
May 10th, Owen Havens and Rosie. It's her first birthday out of the organization.
It's very special. May 13th, Ken Mayo. Hello, Ken. And Kelly Scott.
May 14th, Deborah Wentworth.
And May 16th, Sarah Kay and Heather.
May 19th, Gary Sloan.
May 20th, back soon. May 20th, Sam.
That's Beverly's husband.
Oh, okay. And Calvin Plasson.
May 21st, Asha and Kathy D.
May 22nd, Yvonne.
May 23rd, Mandy May.
May 24th, Jaron B.
May 29th, Pete Yuck.
And May 31st, Marcia Morris.
So happy birthday.
Oh, whether or not it's your first one or 100th or whatever.
That's
Happy
right.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday! Happy
Shannon, did you change the topic? Yes. Okay. Sorry, just a second.
What happened?
I have to just tell Shannon something. Yes, up above. Okay. Sorry. I don't. Okay. There we go. Okay. And our anniversaries for the month of May, May 4th, Tony and Robin Pidio, 51 years. May 10th, Kev and Marissa, 22 years. May 12th, Thomas and Letitia Hadson, 25 years. May 20th, Sparky Slag and his beautiful wife, 31 years. May 22nd, Humblebum. May 30th, Ben and Debbie Rancourt, Tom and Becky, 14 years, and David and Marcella, that's Joe's sister and our brother-in-law, 39 years. And we have one more to add that didn't get a chance to post it, but today is MJ and his wife's anniversary. If everyone knows MJ, he puts out videos, ExJWMJ and his wife. Today is their anniversary. So happy anniversary to all our May anniversary people.
Happy anniversary.
We're about to have a beautiful time. To throw a party tonight. Hey, it's been a really long day for me. I should be living my life. Hey, because time won't wait for me. I ought to throw a party tonight. Hey, me and my friend, and I'll be happy that I made it. Yeah, to the end of the day, that's right. So I guess I'll throw a party tonight. Hey.
Okay, so thank you. Okay, so maybe we can show that when Gary comes on, Shauna. But we do have some meetups coming up. If you want to go to the meetups. Okay, so June 7th, there's an online meetup at 2 o'clock, 2 to 4. You can tap on that and get the details. Also on June 14th, meetup in Carlsbad, California. And I believe that San Diego is hosting that one. That starts at 2 p.m. and just tap on that one and you'll get all the details. August 1st, this is the big one we're all waiting for. It's historic. We have never had an ExJW convention before. And thanks to Rick Fearon, he's working very, very, very hard to put this together. It's still alive in 2025. And it's going to be in Tewksbury, Massachusetts, starting August 1st at 9 a.m., ending August 3rd. It's a Saturday. It's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it will end on Sunday at 9:30 p.m. for those that can stay. If you go on there, you'll find out motels, all the venues, and there's going to be a lot of people. Rick has a lot of special guests coming. We will be there, and like I said, he's got a whole crew of people coming. So if you can make it, still alive in 2025, the tickets are free. All you have to do is email Rick Fearon at jwworldnews@gmail.com, and you can still get your tickets. And then you just have to get your transportation and hotels. September 26th, also, we have a meetup in Las Vegas. It's the Nevada ex-Jehovah's Witness meetup. It's a 2-day meetup, September 26th, starting at 6 p.m., going till September 27th till 12 a.m. And again, the details are on that website there. October 2nd, there's going to be a 5-day cruise, a Carnival Friends, and that starts October 2nd and it goes till October 7th. And if you want to go on a cruise with ExJWs, just tap on that. The Real Love is hosting that one. That's Doreen. And you can get all the information there. If you need more information, just let us know and we can put you in contact with Doreen or The Real Love. So that's it for the meetups. We have some other things on the website. So the website is ExJWFriends. We try to update it as soon as we get information coming in. So the first page, we have ExJWFriends. We have the Discord channel. There's at least 200 members on the Discord, and there's all kinds of events and activities, even movie night. Tonight after our program, they usually have a movie. So we'll find out what that is. Let's see, we did the birthdays, Fixing My Faith, that Vern's channel, Joe and Fran. We now have our own YouTube channel. That's where you're watching it tonight. There's some PDF documents, and first one is Shunning, the New Hate Crime. And it is a paper put together by our brother-in-law, David Podos, and you can read it in its entirety right there. And then also there's Changing Culture Statement PDF, and that is the one that Stephanie Lynn Carson and two other gals are putting that on. So you can check that out. That's for the CSA and any kind of abuse that happened in the Watchtower. You can check that out. And let's see, what else do we have? There's some new ones. Okay, that was last week's. Leaving the Watchtower. Oh, that was our interview with Justin. So if anybody wants to look at that, this is Justin's ExJW recovery book. Really helpful, step-by-step recovering once you leave the Jehovah's Witnesses. Very helpful guide. And now the scapegoat. We're going to talk a little bit about that when Gary comes on. It's a play in 2 acts. And yeah, we have it right here. And it's out on Amazon. And it's a really good book, but we're going to talk a bit when Gary comes on. So, Shauna, whenever you see Gary, just bring him on, please. And then around 8:15, Shannon is coming on. Oh, if we want to show the second page where we have all our therapists and life coaches, that's on the second page of our website. And we have Malia Thompson, El Reno, and there's Shannon with her husband, John. She will be on tonight. Then there's Dr. Ryan Lee, Reverend David Stambo. He's the one that helps us with the website. Without David, we wouldn't have this website here.
Thank you, David.
And we also have Jamie Bond, who is a social worker, and we've met up with him a couple of times. There's Gary Alt. He's a life coach. And everyone knows Michael Shemwell from Shunned podcast. He's also a life coach. And Halima Butler. She's a clinical social worker. Also, we have Aubrey Cruz. Now, the nice thing about all these life coaches and therapists, they were all Jehovah's Witnesses.
They understand. They understand what the friends go through.
So if you need to connect with any of them, you want to check them out, they're all, just click on their page and all their information is on there. Their background, how you can contact them, what their specialty is. And we'll be bringing them on as we can each week. Thank you, Shauna. Okay.
Great.
I think that was it for the ExJW Friends. Yeah.
That's a picture.
Yes.
Well, we look forward to Gary coming on when he comes on.
Okay, he says he's on.
Well, good. We certainly look forward to him.
Let's see, are you backstage, Gary? Shauna will bring you on. What you have to do to get on stage is you have to go to the live chat. At the top of the live chat, you'll see the link Joe and Fran Garino with the HTTPS StreamYard. If you tap on that, then Shauna will bring you on stage. So if you're backstage now, just go to the live chat.
It's a big black bar with yellow and blue in it. It stands out.
Okay, I'm just going to check with Shauna. There you
Well,
are.
hello, Gary.
Hello, Gary.
Wow. I got to take my glasses off because they're shining.
They shine.
Thank you for coming on tonight.
That was,
Thanks for having me.
your stage play was brilliant, Gary.
Thank you.
It just literally sheds light on everything that's dark that goes on in that organization.
It's an easy read. I read it. We started last night, and I had to put it down so we could go to bed. But the first thing we got up, Joe hands it to me because he knows I wanted to finish it, and we did. We finished it this morning.
Yeah.
We really highly recommend this. It's on. Is it on Amazon, Gary?
The ebook is on Amazon, which has a different picture, by the way. It's a picture of a like a 5-year-old girl or whatever. But the print book, and also on barnesandnoble.com, bn.com, both of them have the ebook. But the print book won't be available there until the end of June. But
Okay.
both of them are available on bookbaby.com. So if you just go to store.bookbaby.com and then just do a search for Gary Alt Scapegoat, that's all you need. Actually, I think if you just say Scapegoat, you'll find it. But with Amazon, you have to put my whole name in there because there's other products with that name on it. So yeah. So if you want the print book, go to store.bookbaby.com.
Right. So maybe, Gary, unless you had something to say right this second, I have a question to start
All right.
off. What motivated you to conceive this?
It was just a couple of months ago. I was watching television, and I noticed in the the directory or the guide of television shows that there was a movie on. I think it was called Confession. I think was the name of the movie. It's an old 30s or 40s movie, and I did not watch the movie because I did not want it to give me any ideas, and I still have not watched it. All I know is that they had one little blurb, one sentence, something to the effect of how it's about a religious. They don't say it's a Catholic priest, but it has to be. But a religious, like a pastor or whatever. That, or it might say priest. So yes, I think it said priest who listens to the confession of someone who confesses a crime to him, and subsequently the priest is accused of the crime.
Huh.
And I just thought, well, that's a really interesting. And like I said, I did not watch it. I have really no idea about any of the details of it. If he gets off in the end, I have no idea. But I just thought, what a fascinating idea. Now, if you think about who else could run into a situation like that, how about an elder, let's say, of Jehovah's Witnesses, who's in a similar position? He can't give away a confidence, and they'll never going to go to the police about anything in the congregation. So they keep a complete secret. They have the 2-witness rule that applies to basically everything. And so it could easily happen that an elder could be accused of something that he's aware of, and he could actually pay the price for it. So I thought let's do that. And so I made up a story. It involves a couple of families, one of Jehovah's Witnesses, another family that's not Jehovah's Witnesses, and they're actually integral to the whole thing. And how it's this case of mistaken identity develops through an investigation of the actual perpetrator of a crime. And I will tell you that the perpetrator of the crime is a ministerial servant in the congregation, because his name is written on the back of the book, so it's not a mystery. But what he actually did and who gets blamed for it and how it works out in the end, I'm not going to give it all away.
No, don't give it away. It's too
good. Yeah, because it's a suspenseful story. It's very,
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
It is.
I thought I was writing a suspenseful story, but a couple of people that read it said, Gary, this is really a suspense story. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess you're
I
right.
was
is.
in suspense. I was.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
almost thought that we were even taking it a little bit further. The one that was accused of it, we thought maybe he was also a perpetrator and
Mhm.
had done something to this other guy when he was younger. You know, we were kind of reading into it as we were going along. But
Yeah, and that's easy to do. I mean, I wrote it in such a way that, like, what's going on here, really, it reveals things a little bit at a time, but
Yeah.
every time it reveals something, it opens up another question, like, what in the world,
Yeah.
It's only about 150 pages. And,
oh, it's an easy read.
Quick read.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's a play, really. It's not a novel.
Yeah, it's a play. Yeah, no, you've got
It's-
scenes in it. Yeah, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And if you want, I could tell you about why I did it that way.
Yeah.
Well, originally I thought, I don't know, I just wasn't really ready to invest the time to really come up with, all the descriptive and metaphors and things like that are typical of a good novel. I just thought, I just want to tell the story. I just had it in me, and I just wanted to get it out as quickly as I could. So I thought I'd make it a screenplay, which, in other words, a movie script. And since you have a camera with a movie, the camera is really telling the story as much as the people are telling the story. And so I did it that way. And so, it came in at around 120 pages or something like that. And then somebody in a local, an ExJW I know that works with a local theater group in Maryland, or actually I think it's DC. He said that they might be interested in staging it.
I
Oh,
bet.
So I
that
said,
would
well,
be
how about
great.
if so I said, how about if I make a stage play out of it? So I did. Well, there's a lot of differences between a movie and a stage play. A lot of things you can't do, a lot of things you have to do differently, So I did that. And to be honest, as a stage play, it would be a bit difficult to put on because there's a lot of scene changes and a lot of characters. So I did it. But then I thought, you know what? The problem when you finish a project like that is that, like, what do you do next? I've spent weeks,
Wow.
bringing a new baby into the world, you might say. And now what do I do? Well, normally you get busy with marketing it, getting it out to people. Well, how do you do that with a stage play and a screenplay? You don't market it. It's just, you can't, it's not for sale. So I decided, what if I put the play into, just reformat it and make a book out of it? And when I did that, that enabled me to add more detail that you really wouldn't be able to see in a play if you were sitting in the third row, So it gave me a lot of freedom. It was a lot of fun doing it. And it's more pages than, because a screenplay typically shouldn't be no longer than 120 pages, because that means it's about a 2-hour movie. So they don't, and it's similar with a stage play. It's got to be a limited number of pages. Otherwise, you're talking about a 5-hour evening at the theater, But with the book, I said, hey, I don't care. The 150 pages is nothing to read. That's nothing.
Right.
So that's what happened. I turned it into the book. And so it's a play like the plays I used to read when I was in high school, Tennessee Williams and Edward Albee and Chekhov and Ibsen is my favorite. All these famous plays are also out in a book form, and you can tell it's not the same as what a director and a cast would read, because it doesn't have stage directions and technical details, So it reads. That's why it reads like something that's actually very easy to read, and it's palatable for anybody.
Yeah. Instant engagement. They were engaged right in it. It really was.
And they're so typical. I
Oh,
mean,
it's terrible.
the witnesses are so.
terrible and
I was
so
getting
typical.
so upset with the mother.
You
I'm
were
not
so-
going to get into
Yeah,
it.
you were
Oh
so
my goodness.
accurate with it.
Oh, the way they treat women. You had it right down.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, I took a lot of references out. I'll tell you a secret, or it's not a secret, but one thing that always drove me crazy about the witnesses, even when I was in, is how some of them will say Jehovah every other sentence. I mean, it's like a magic charm to them. They just say
Yeah.
Jehovah this, Jehovah that. They can't have a normal conversation without saying
No.
it 50 times,
No.
So that's kind of what I had the characters doing, was just being crazy JWs, And I said, well, nobody's really going to want to read that. Even ExJWs will get sick of it, And so I made change here and there. But I think that what it demonstrates is that this story is probably not even possible, except for that it's in the JW environment. They make it possible. The way they look at it, the way they trust each other for no good reason, just because they're JWs and the world is the world. So the world is obviously evil, but we're all righteous, you know. And that affects their thinking and their judgment like really, really big. So it could actually lead to something like this, where, I mean, it happened to me, where I was I had a court battle because of everybody believed something that you had to be a JW to believe it. If you weren't a JW, you had more sense than to believe this garbage. So it was fun. It was fun doing that, and I deliberately highlighted the subservience of the women to the men, and you know, just so people will say, any you know, people that are not familiar with Jehovah's Witnesses will say, are these people crazy? Like, what's the matter? Is this like a family that transported from the 1700s into the, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So,
And I like the way you brought in the worldly family, you know, that they were just so right on, like, this is what we do, you know. I'm not going to go into it, but everything that you had them do, that's like what you should do, and opposite of what the witnesses did.
right. Yeah, well, that's another thing. I'm glad you picked up on that. Like there's a scene where the husband of the, you know, the next door neighbors, the ones that aren't Jehovah's Witnesses, he's like in an airport because he's away on business, and they're talking on the phone about the issue that they just found out about that involves their family, and it's clear that both of them are thinking on an equal level. The wife presents the problem to the husband, and the husband says, what do you think we should do? And she puts forth some ideas, and they think about, but both of them are equal partners in dealing with this really serious problem. Completely different from the JWs in the story, because it's the husband's the only guy with the answers, and the woman is just, you know, so.
Yeah.
No, it was excellent.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad you picked up on that.
Yeah, the sooner they can get into the public eyes, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my hope really, honestly, is I would love to see it made into a movie.
Oh, it'd be great. Oh my goodness.
Probably by an indie movie maker, not, you know, Hollywood, but I would love that. And I mean, I've seen movies like Apostasy and Confessions of a Teenage Jesus Jerk, and they did such a great job exposing not just to ExJWs, but to anybody that wants to see this is the real world inside Jehovah's Witnesses. This is what really happens. And like, do you really want to, you know?
Yeah. I was going to say, we were just talking before you came on about the ExJW convention that's coming up in Tewksbury, Mass. Rick Fearon is putting it on. It's 3 days, but there's going to be 2 different movie companies coming. One's from Spain and one from Australia. I mean, we could bring the book and show them.
Time to pitch it.
We could show them the book, give them a copy of it.
Well, yeah, I'm going to be there.
Oh, are you? Good.
Yeah, okay. I reserve. I'm going to be on the program on Friday night with Barbara Anderson, and he set up a table for me to bring my book and my other books.
Excellent. Too. Okay.
And who knows if I'll participate in some other way too. I don't really know, but I'm going to be there the whole weekend. Oh,
good. Well, we are there. We're going to be there too, so we look forward to seeing you.
Yeah. And by the way, I'll tell you now that if anybody is going and does not have a hotel reservation yet, and it might be difficult to afford it, I have a 2-queen room that is just going to be me. So, you know, if one person or so wants to share a little bit, just let me know.
That's good to know, because we were helping some others find rooms too. So we'll keep that in mind. Thank you, Gary. Joe and I already have a sequel to your.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's kind of led into. We'll tell you sometime, but
okay.
It's like the next chapter or the next scene or whatever act.
Well,
3.
It is. I guess you might say it's a bit of a cliffhanger, because in the end, you just know a couple of things. You know that so far, you know, somebody's gotten away with something, and another person got a lot of discipline for something, but you don't know like what you know, are these guys still in the organization? Like nobody gets, well, there's one person that gets this fellowship, but it raises a question like, is he ever going to come back? It doesn't sound like it, but I'm not telling that
Right.
story. So, you know, yeah, kind of reminds me of a lot my life story when I wrote my first book. In the end of the book, I'm still not disfellowshipped, and I don't say all of what my doubts were. I had lots of doubts, but I don't talk about them in detail. So you might think like, what kind of an ending is this? Is this guy still a JW or what? Well, yeah, when I wrote the book, I was, you know, so,
Yeah. Wow.
but it's kind of similar. Like you don't know who's in, who's out, but it's like, but you know, one thing is that nobody's safe as long as Jehovah's Witnesses have this stupid 2-witness policy and the way they approach confidentiality. Nobody's safe. I don't care if you're the next door neighbor that goes to a Catholic church or who you are. Nobody is safe as long as they do things the way they do them.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's an important story to get out.
It is.
But we did other things.
It's just breathtaking, the secrecy that that organization has controlled over the public. They don't know, and we speak with dozens, hundreds of people through our shop and wherever, and they are clueless. 99% of the people are clueless. There's a very small percentage that knows what's going on. Either they're in law enforcement, or they're in social work,
Right.
or anything or something. But most people are clueless. They don't know how to react. They don't know how to react. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of
Yeah, I
even,
mean,
go ahead.
what I was just going to say, you can kind of understand why. It's because JWs appear to be very nice people, and I think most of them are. They're really nice. They're good neighbors. They're great people. Very, very honest. You know, most I think.
We
But
get mixed messages. We get mixed messages from the people from the public about their nature. We
well, yes, I know. I agree with that too. That you got plenty of people that are like they don't trust them as far as you can throw them.
Yeah.
But it's easy to conceive of how whatever you said, 99% of people would just say, "Oh, la la la," like whatever, and then they wouldn't believe it if you told them the crap that goes on, because they come across like nice people, and I'm not saying they're dishonest about that, but also because they're so bent on defending the organization at all costs. So they always put this positive message out that's really a lie, and they don't even know they're lying because, well, maybe they're not, because if they really believe it, that means they're not lying. But yeah, it's just so yeah.
Yeah, it's really it's a massive social lesson that's going to be learned.
Yeah,
it really is.
There's a fellow that I met when I lived in England, and I can't remember his name right now, which embarrasses me. But he's from Ireland, and he was that special they did in the UK about the famous woman that was married to a soccer player. I can't remember her name now, Rachel or whatever her name was. But she was a Jehovah's Witness, raised as a Jehovah's Witness, and it was about all those kind of things. Well, I met all those people, John Viney and all those good friends of mine. We all met, and right after they finished filming the thing in a hotel in London, and this fellow that I can't remember his name is from Ireland, and I'm talking to him about how one of the big problems is that the media and the courts and lawyers and politicians, people that can make a difference, never ask the right questions. They believe whatever the JWs say. How the JWs hide behind all these corporations. They say, "Oh, we don't do that." Well, it depends if you're talking about us as spiritual, overseers or a corporation. Yeah, maybe they don't do that because they don't, but actually they do. And in the middle of me, spouting my little thing about it, this fellow from Ireland said, "Yeah, I know," and he starts to. See, I hadn't seen the movie yet, and as soon as I saw it, I said, "He's the guy that's got the right take on the media and how to deal with the media and the lawyers and the courts and the politicians and lawmakers, because they have to learn. They have to ask better questions. The media drops the ball every time. because they don't understand what, like if let's say an elder is on a news show that's talking about pedophilia and how tolerant they are of it. He's probably going to say something about, well, we alert the authorities. Well, who's we? Who is we? You alert the authorities? Can you give me one instance when you've done that? When any of your fellow elders have done that?
Yeah.
No, because nobody ever does.
Yeah.
We means that we tell the victims and their families that they can talk to the police if they want to, but they're probably not going to want to because they're taught not to.
That's right.
So we doesn't mean anything.
Well, there's so much overt control and strict guidance that the news people have, that they're given strict control, and they're told, like with witnesses or other religion, that they say, don't go there, just don't go there, stick to whatever, and don't get deep, because they know that they have something to hide, because they also have something to hide. So it's like,
yes,
they do. See, because frankly, the witnesses are not the only ones with bad skeletons in their closet.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Every one of them has it, and they honestly, they don't want things to come out any more than the witnesses want things to come out. So as far as I'm concerned, it's the public, us, and the rest that are going to basically raise the awareness. And the politics has nothing more but to follow, because they know that if they don't follow the lead of the public, they're not going to get elected.
All right.
So we're watching this happen. It's powerful. It's like they say, grassroots. It's people like us and all the others coming out that are, and all the X's and the content creators and the authors like you. It's happening. It is happening.
Right. Yeah. And I think another benefit of that, of what you're talking about, is that even if all the lawmakers and everybody, all the legal people, even if they got it together and created some great laws, the law can only do so much to protect, like our children, for example. The law can only go so far to protect. They can't work miracles.
No.
The parents really need to protect their kids.
Yeah.
And if we're thinking that the Jehovah's Witness that just left my door, well, what a nice guy who's reading from the Bible. I mean, first of all, they're not all gonna hurt your kids, but some will. I mean, obviously, there's probably on average around the world like 1 or 2 pedophiles per congregation, or 1 for every 2 congregations, or something like that.
Yeah.
Some kind of statistic. So there's a danger. So parents have to be aware of what they need to do, because the predators are not coming to your door saying, "Hi, I'm a pedophile."
No. And the reality is, let's say, you got to stay clear of that Jehovah's Witnesses, because it's a paradise for the pedophiles.
Right.
You guys just stay clear. Okay. So the people go somewhere else. Guess who follows?
What do you mean, people?
The pedophiles follow. So the problem is the behavior and the practices of the families. They fail, like you said, to understand that so long as they collect together in the ways that they have been, they are open targets, fair game. And they're going to have to desire new arrangements, new controls, new safeguards. And they're going to have to manage them and not let someone else manage them for them.
Yep.
They've been way too trusting. And this, I'm sure that play is going to help people. Yeah,
hopefully. I mean, like I said, if even a couple hundred people read it, that's a positive thing. But I would love to see it made into a movie, but I can't. I don't have the facilities to do that. So maybe if we read it and we know somebody that knows somebody.
Are you gonna have it read? Are you gonna narrate it?
What do you mean, like have an audiobook version of it?
Yeah.
I thought about that, but I don't know if it would work well. I got to think about it, because I did that with my book.
Oh my goodness. I think it'd be fabulous, Gary.
Yeah.
Oh my word, yes.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, how are you?
If you narrated it or someone, I'm telling you, they would go through the same anxiety that we did when we were reading it.
Yeah.
It would work. It would work. Oh yes. Oh,
Maybe, you
Fran
know
is-
what? Maybe, you know, now that you made me think about it, maybe this is just a possibility, because normally audiobooks are read by one person, maybe two.
Oh,
But
set it
maybe,
up.
if I had a whole cast of people, one
Oh,
playing
my
the
goodness.
narrator
Oh,
and one
do it.
playing this guy and the other
That would
playing
be
this
great.
guy.
I think it would go
my
over
God.
well, Gary.
It would be. It was. Look. I was actually. I don't read. I watch. I listen, but I don't read. I did that when I was younger. I gave it up past a certain point.
But I read.
But Fran reads, and I
Yeah,
listen.
I just had to read the last part to it because I kept relating
And
it
I
and
gave,
relating it.
and
And I
it's
go,
like I was on the edge of my seat.
I
and
said, I just have to read the
that's why
last.
I gave her the book in the morning, and we're finishing this.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh no, seriously, Gary. If it was read, it would engage
Shall we say hello,
deeply.
Stephanie?
Hello, Stephanie.
Stephanie,
Hi.
do you know Gary?
I don't know Gary, but I think I need to go buy his book.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Sounds-
It's a play. It's a play.
Oh, okay.
Stage play.
Stage play about Jehovah's Witnesses.
Uh-huh.
Huh,
But
interesting.
very,
Oh,
very
yeah.
real life.
Star
Yeah.
Star also wrote a play, one of the survivors that's coming forward right now. I don't know if
Okay.
you've heard about her
Okay.
yet, Gary. And the investigators we're working with found a film crew in Australia that's making it into a film. And it's going to be uses educational for law enforcement on how this sex trafficking is going on within the cult,
Oh, okay.
specifically Jehovah's Witnesses. So that'll be exciting. And we hope that it'll be available at the convention to watch. So
That would be cool. I know that what's his last name? Star? What is it?
her name is Star Paul.
Star
She's
Paul.
one of-
That's right. Yeah.
one of the survivors that is coming forward with all these lawsuits
Yeah.
that we're putting together.
I remember reading a little bit of what you just said in the description of the convention, thinking that that's going to be a real highlight, you know. I mean, it'll probably be difficult, painful to listen to, but it's important, you know.
It is, yeah. But the great thing about this documentary is being made, it's geared towards educating law enforcement. You know, as Jehovah's Witnesses, young or old, we're taught not to go to the authorities.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how these things have been able to go on and on. I mean, and I'm sitting here, I'm putting stuff together for my own legal case, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, different times when I wasn't even still living in the situation that was allowing my abuse to happen. And I wonder, how did I then even not know that I was allowed to go to the police? Like when my abuser would come and, you know, start knocking on the windows and harassing me. Like, how did I not know then I couldn't go to the police? So I think because we weren't allowed to come forward to them, I think the authorities are so unaware of the problem. So that's the big thing that Star and I are working on, is trying to create an awareness amongst law enforcement so they know to be watchful for these things.
Yeah.
And Stephanie, the other thing you're doing is you're working with the law firm Travis Walker.
Yes.
And you just recently, we have the, Shauna put it on the website about Rick interviewing Star and Travis.
Yeah,
And
that
so
was
that's
amazing that he came on the program. I think he's also going to be at the convention, and at least one of the investigators is going to be at the convention. So it's going to open a lot of opportunity for people to ask about what's happening. Because, I mean, I'm not, this form of advocacy isn't really my forte, so I don't really know how to communicate it to other people. I just know what I've been doing. You know, I started in 2005. I didn't come into the ex-Jehovah's Witness world. I went straight to the lawmakers to correct what happened to my brother and I in the past and other children. But I didn't know, you know, to go into the community and work, you know, so
Mhm.
yeah, so it's hard for me to communicate into the community. I think there's been a lot of misunderstanding that's come from
Yes.
that.
Yes.
So I want to give my apologies for anything I've miscommunicated, but it
You're
is,
doing
it's a huge project, you know.
Yeah.
As far as I can count, and these are just the ones that are coming to me saying I filed a lawsuit, and this includes my own number. Now, if people are contacting the attorney and those same survivors are not also contacting Star or I, we don't know that number. But so far, our count is up to 9 civil cases that are soon to be filed.
Wow.
And we expect it to become, you know, a great multitude more. It's going to be a big movement.
We appreciate your working at it.
Well, we
Yeah.
appreciate everybody. I can't wait to read Gary's book.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a good one.
Good. Keep you on your
Gary.
toes, huh?
Gary, I could honestly see an impromptu narration that you somehow put on with others who are willing to play the parts and then present it as a YouTube play,
I can
stage
play
play.
the mother. I'll play the JW mother.
Open it up to the friends that listen and you've read it, and you're gonna. I believe you're gonna get willing participants.
Oh yeah.
We always wanted those parts on the drama at the convention, didn't we?
Gary, you did it, Gary. You did it, Gary.
I
It's
love
got to
it.
be done.
Yeah, well, no, you're giving me ideas. I mean, there's quite a number of. I guess the core characters are about a half a dozen, but when you extend it, it's like 12 and then 18, depending upon how important they are.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few people who just have a few lines, you know. But I guess the trick would be to find enough people to do it. You know, if it's not going to be any video, you can have one person play a couple of different parts.
We know somebody that can do voices.
Yeah, well, that'd be cool. Yeah, and then it's just a matter of being able to figure out where and when to record it. You know, that would be a bit of a trick, probably. Bring everybody together or something. I don't know. It's definitely something I'll think about now. Now you know what you did? You just made a project for me, because when I get an idea in my head, and I like it and I want to do it, it happens. You know.
Gary, you're the person. You got to do it.
Gary, there's going to be enough people in Tewksbury. Maybe we can take some time out and do a recording there.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
I mean, everyone knows the parts, Gary.
Yeah.
You realize that? We all.
No, and I know what you mean. Yeah, because they know that. Yeah, well, this is how
they know the roles. They know the parts.
Yeah. Or if I was the wife, I could play the wife.
Yeah.
Made an idiot that obeys everything her husband says. That's easy.
Yeah.
No, it's true. Yeah.
And see, this would give a window into the world of the mania that JWs have created, and people are becoming interested in that.
You know, when Joe and I first woke up, we were watching YouTube, and there was this old movie, and it was called something about the witness next door, something like that. And it was about this couple that studied with the witnesses, and the man became a witness. The lady next door was a Protestant or something, and she was trying to witness to them to get them out of the religion. And this was such a good movie. And it's like, I don't know where we found it, but that was like when we first woke up. And they did a very good job.
It goes back to the 60s, I think.
Yeah, it was an old movie.
Yeah.
Very good. But anyway.
It's time, Gary. It's time. It's time.
Yeah.
We're living in a great renaissance, and the arts are needed. The arts are needed.
Yeah.
I did some teachery kind of things here and wrote some words. Oh, Fran did. It was my idea. And here's the one thing, the great thing that is taking place now. It's this. This is what's happening now.
And it's not the Catholic Church ascension.
No.
I see.
No. Any of the difficulties that we're having right now are the beginnings of this process of ascension, rising out of everything that religion and government has put people under. it's time now, and people are reacting. It's as crazy as a time as it seems. It's that transition point that we're going through, and it's so important to be aware of it and not to be discouraged because, well, of how if something loses its sureness, then people start to freak out. But that's the time when things rearrange and refine and grow, and that's what's taking place now. Everyone's doing it.
What's the Hermetic?
Oh, yeah.
Hermes.
Well, Gary, anything else?
Who, me? No, I don't know.
You.
That's all I can think of.
Okay. Well, you got an assignment.
Yeah, now I got to really think about how to do that. That's, I mean, you know what? I've recorded an awful lot of music over the years,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of it was done over the internet. In other words, I'll put down a basic track, send it to my friend Jason, and he would do a vocal and record it in his house, and then send it back to me. And then I do that with all the instruments, and then I mix it all together, and you'd never know we weren't in the same room, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe we could do something like that. Just
Now's
I don't
the
know.
time.
Who was that one artist that recorded all the instruments himself and put it together?
Yeah, I
It's one of the
remember
great
seeing it.
songs.
I don't remember who it was, but I remember.
Yeah, I know Todd Rundgren has done that. Yet to be pretty good, you know. But Paul McCartney has done that. But there's a more recent guy, I think.
Maybe
you might
Prince.
Be thinking of.
Maybe Prince.
Well, actually,
he
Prince,
could
I think,
play every instrument.
Yeah, because he could. I think he could play it pretty much all of them.
Yeah, he could.
But he might have done that. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't remember who I'm thinking of either.
Well, maybe we can swing into Gary. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you in advance for what you're going to do too.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Stick around if you don't have anything to do.
Yeah, nice to meet you too, Gary. I haven't made your acquaintance yet.
Yeah. The name sounds really familiar.
My name?
Yeah.
I've been kind of around the community since about 2017, 18. I came back in the community, worked with Barbara with SCARS, doing SB 360 legislation reform.
Okay.
And so you might have read my name in a newspaper here or there. Testified at the Pennsylvania grand jury, my husband and I both. So.
Oh, are you also on the program at the Massachusetts thing for something?
Well, I'm not, but I'm connected to one of the survivors, Shannon Simondinger, and she did mention my name and testimony.
That's where I saw it.
My brother, who's an elder, is the one that disfellowshipped her.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and then she mentioned my name in her testimony, and said that she was inspired by what I was doing with the legislation reform. Of course, I got inspired by Barbara Anderson. We all get inspired by someone, right?
Yeah.
That's how this movement works. And so she's just a little tiger, and she said, Stephanie Carson taught me I had a voice, and I'm going to use it. We're going to change this law. We actually went door to door with her back in our hometown. I can't remember what year that was off the top of my head, but we made up little pamphlets just like Jehovah's Witnesses, and went door to door and asked all the worldly people to call the state legislator to change the law.
Yeah.
And it worked. It worked. I mean, the law, he tried to change it, but these things just don't get very far.
Yeah, right.
But we got the community involved, and the community is still talking about me. So
wow.
Yeah.
Planting seeds.
Yep, planting seeds, getting more people to come forward and getting awareness. I wanted to mention too, your neighbors are watching. This is so important that the message of the cults comes out into the greater community of the world, because what happened to us does affect everyone. Like I wrote in my book, these secrets have a demoralizing effect on society. And an erosion of faith, family, and freedom, which is American culture.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I'm going to be back in a minute. I got to take care of something.
yeah, but nice to meet
If
you,
I'm
Gary.
still on, I'll watch either way.
Yeah, you
Okay, thank
yeah.
you.
stay on
Okay.
if you want.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. It was nice to meet him.
Oh yeah, I think you'll have some good interaction, and you can
Yeah.
help each other. I'm sure of it.
We'll have to connect for sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
it's gonna be.
apologize. I've got a terrible cough tonight. So
Well, that's all.
Well, glad you could come on.
Yes.
Dean
yeah.
is
So if it gets too
page.
bad, I'll have to say goodbye.
Okay. Well, hang in there.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Dan.
Dan. We've got someone backstage that would like to come in. Now, are we going to have the movies?
Yeah, we're going to do that.
Or the
That'll be
videos.
later.
So, later. But,
Yes, because
Yeah.
Shannon's coming on at 8:15
okay, gotcha.
for a little bit. But
Yeah. Just to let people know, again, our theme was
it's getting better.
Getting better.
Yeah.
It is getting better. Yeah.
Can I share something with the community because we're talking about ascension and we're talking about healing?
Please.
A question has come up about my name because I go by the name Stephanie Lynn Carson, and that's what most of the community knows me by, which was my given name at birth. So that was my legal name. But through the process of healing, I mean, I went through a very, very dark period, and it is a spiritual journey. And it doesn't mean, spiritual doesn't necessarily mean a path towards Christianity. It means a path towards learning of your own self. I believe the divinity resides within, and it is the collective of us all together. So finally in 2023, I actually went to the courthouse and I legally changed my name.
Wow.
And I don't think I've even shared this yet with you, Joe and Fran.
Well,
I
But
think
you
yeah,
did. You did.
Oh, I
But
did.
please-
Okay.
but
Please do.
re-
Yeah,
but please
please.
repeat it.
Yes.
So I legally changed my name to Willow Rose Grace.
Yeah.
So when I file my lawsuit, it won't be Stephanie Carson, it'll be Willow Rose Grace, but my former name Stephanie will be mentioned in the lawsuit.
Yeah.
But I chose the last name Grace because it took the grace of God to truly forgive, the things that I suffered through as a child and adult. The suffering doesn't end.
No.
It doesn't end until you bring peace to it within
That's
your own
right.
self. And bringing
That's
that peace is what causes when you create healing within yourself, it creates healing to everything around you. So it is so important. Ascension is so important.
And it begins from within us. It really
It
does. And we see it from outside of us, and then we apply it to ourselves. And that's a beautiful way of doing it. It truly is. Stephanie.
That's the whole purpose of this purposeful abuse, which when you abuse a child on purpose, to me that is the satanic element.
Yeah.
Do worse things happen that we call satanic? Yes, there are people murdering children and doing the unthinkables, but just any harm to a child, because it disconnects you from yourself. The whole reason why like the Catholic Church, they're mostly known for their abuse against boys, not so much against girls. And you're going to find there's going to be a lot more boys coming forward because it's actually this ancient Babylonian cult that we are fighting. Age 8 is very important in that. And one of the rituals that they perform, which is a satanic ritual, which is penetration to cause a reaction of the vagus nerve. Now, if you go in and you read what the vagus nerve is and what it does to yourself, I was speaking to a woman that has a surviving son of satanic ritual abuse and a non-surviving son. So these satanic families, they actually choose a child to not be harmed while they harm the rest of the children, because that causes a further discrediting and gaslighting effect, because you always have that one child that remembers everything being beautiful and blissful and perfect.
Yes.
And so they can call their other siblings, no, I grew up in that house too, that didn't happen, mom, and no, you're crazy. So that's part of the satanic ritual abuse. But the purpose for doing that is the disconnect between the spirit of the child. But what this mother was saying was the one child that had been satanically abused in that fashion, that triggers the vagus nerve, that male child of hers is not as masculine, is kind of how she explained it to me. He's very easily pushed to crying, to just not standing up for himself, just not standing up for himself. So and that is why they do that, to create something that they can control.
I've seen that.
Because it takes the self identity, the self-worth out of the child. And so
I've seen
it it's night and day, and that it has something to do with that nerve.
And you referred to it as giving to yourself. In other words, when someone takes so much from you, it puts you in a situation where you desperately need to give to yourself.
Right.
Everything's been taken. You're in that last position of giving that grace. And
forgiveness isn't about forgiving those that hurt you. It's about finding peace with it.
That's right. That's
going back, and the only person that can rescue that child is your adult self.
Yep, that's it.
No one else ever.
And this is where this, the terms that I put up there comes in eventually. Hermes and Hermetic and Hermeticism. But go ahead.
Slavika is backstage and she wants to ask Stephanie a question. So can we bring her in?
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, we can bring Slavika on and say hello to Dan. Hi, Slavika.
Hi, Dan and Slavika.
Hello.
Hi, Slavika.
Hi. I wanted to ask Stephanie if she, she probably knows about this, but there's, the International Tribunal for Children's Rights.
Yes. And the United States is the only nation to have not have ratified that.
Okay, well, can we get President Trump to look into that and to change?
That is the goal. So
fantastic.
If you go onto the website that hosts the paperwork for the redress, it's www.worldorganizationwelfare.org.
Fantastic.
And on there's a redress form. So fill that out and send it in. That's going to be sent to either Star or myself. And we're going to use that
I'm going to ask Ruby to write down that she's passed on writing things and so on, and I can find my way out of that.
Yeah, that's it right there. There we go. It's on the screen now.
Fantastic, because I'm not very good as far as these mechanical things.
I'm not either, my dear friend. Yeah,
fantastic. We're about the same speed then.
Yes.
But fantastic.
The world is changing way quicker than I want it to.
Well, fantastic. We're definitely on the right track, Stephanie.
Yes, that's the end goal. The interim goal is to get the issue of clergy penitent privilege, which is currently sitting at our United States Department of Justice.
Right.
It's sitting there waiting to be reviewed for constitutional issues, which is something I personally have run across in my advocacy. I've worked in 6 attempts in 4 separate states to change that law. So now that it's at the national level, bringing our voices together in that redress form.
Fantastic.
That's one of the goals.
Is happening as a result of activists like yourself.
All of us. Doesn't matter. I mean, all of us are doing the work. But thank you.
Fantastic. Exactly. But it wouldn't be, going anywhere had activists not, started speaking out.
Well, that is the truth. I mean, most of this has to happen out. If you want to have a conversation with, I forget how the phrase goes, but if you want to hear a king speak, then speak like a king or something like that. take your message to those that will hear it, you know, and use their, who was it? Saul went before the king and, you know, asked him for redress for the people.
And this is where the transformation really has to start within us, because if we go on the old way that we were raised as people, we won't do that. Because we're sinners. We need to keep in our place. We have to defer to those higher above us.
Yeah, not only that, we couldn't even salute the flag. So why would we ever look
we were
to
kept
politicians? We can't even talk to a police officer, let
Yeah.
alone why would we go to a senator or to Donald Trump?
That's right.
Yeah,
But once we realize that we're more than we thought ourselves to be, now we go forward. And that's where this information that was basically hidden from us comes in. And we can, the video is going to
yeah,
deal with
absolutely.
that.
Yes, we also have Dan, who's been waiting, and Annie and also welcome Shannon and her husband, John Briggs. They're also the life coaches on our webpage, and shortly they're going to be having their own program. So I guess Dan was on first. Hi, Dan.
How you doing? I like your show tonight. First of all, Stephanie, what you were talking about, that's nothing more. Even though the satanic rituals pick that up, that's nothing more than a narcissist that takes one child and makes them a scapegoat of the family, and it's a pecking order, and it it was all for control. I came from that kind of a family.
Yes, that would be the secular way to describe what a Christian might call Satanist, satanic. So, you know, we all use different words to describe the same thing. So if I say satanic, please don't be offended.
Oh, no, actually, I was mixed up with a little bit of satanic thing, black magic during the 80s. That was
that within Watchtower?
No, that's way before Watchtower came along.
Okay.
I go back a long ways. Like I'm 62 right now. I'm talking about when I was like 22 years old. I was mixed up in that realm, and a lot of it I was so familiar with it because growing up in a narcissist family, I was actually the rebel who wasn't afraid to set my 6'4" father straight, and I'm only 5'4". So there's a way to come out of that, and scapegoats have a big challenge. And once you cross that bridge, now you had to reckon with my father was afraid of me. So good luck to everybody who has to break through that. And now, as far as Gary Alt, I actually like the fact that you have this book out. I've got to get it because a friend of mine, we always do improv. Yeah, I'm gonna research that, Fran. And where can I get that from? Actually,
It's available on Amazon and bn.com, but only as an ebook. If you want the print book, and you can also get the ebook from store.bookbaby.com. So store.bookbaby.com for either the ebook or the print book, and just search for Scapegoat. If you're looking on Amazon or bn.com, you probably should put my name on it too. So Gary Alt Scapegoat. But just remember that the print book will not be available on Amazon or bn.com until like the end of June.
Okay, that gives me some time.
Yeah, but like I said, you can order it from same price and everything. You can order it from bookbaby.com. It's the easiest way to do it, really. Store.bookbaby.com.
Well, I guess that answers the question. Tonight's topic is it keeps getting better. I guess it is getting better.
Yeah.
And with these new things coming out, everybody does their share to contribute to a the cause. And a friend of mine who is taking up acting and modeling, she's the one that I really go and do a lot of improv with. So I'm going to tell her about this. You may pick up on a little bit of that book.
Can I just interrupt everyone? We've got Shannon and her husband, John. They were scheduled to come on at 8:15 and they have a window. So if we could just kind of hold our thoughts, and we'd like to introduce them, and maybe they can just tell a little bit about themselves and their new program that they have coming up.
I'll exit here. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you for coming on,
Thank you, Stephanie.
Stephanie.
Hang around.
Yeah, we will. We will.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Joe and Fran. Thanks for inviting us. Is there somebody that has their mic
Yeah, if everybody can mute themselves.
so we don't have the feedback? That's better. That's better. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's great. Thank you.
So thank you for inviting us to come and chat with you and to talk a little bit about the show that the ExJWFriends has so generously offered to have us. So we're starting June 9th, we're going to be having a show on this same platform under Fixing My Faith called Deservingly You. And it's going to be where John and I come and bring some of the coaching strategies that we've been trained in and be able to share different topics that people can apply in their lives and be able to we want people to be able to have a view of what's out there, what they can, so that they're not stuck. I come from, I'll tell a little bit about my background, and John, then I'll turn it over to John. But my background is I'm a survivor of domestic violence, also was in the Watchtower the majority of my life. The domestic violence was all while I was part of the organization. So there was all sorts of crazy stuff that went on. I did end up getting disfellowshipped, came back in when I lost my counselor when he died, because I couldn't imagine never seeing him again. And so when I came back in, then I thought, I want to be the best one that I could be. And then I met John in 2008. We're going to talk a little bit about that on our show too, about like how we got together and some of the challenges that we have had. But then I ended up in 2016 and ended up getting a diagnosis of cancer. And that is what changed my life. I thought I was going in to cure cancer, and it ended up being so much bigger than that. And it's actually what brought us to where we are today with becoming transformational resilience coaches. So I'll turn it over to you a little bit.
John Briggs, thank you for having us here, Joe and Fran, everybody for tuning in tonight. I really appreciate it. And just a quick background on me. I was born and raised in the organization on my mom's side, and coming up, in the 70s and 80s. Been a very abusive stepfather. My mom would leave and she kept coming back or going back. And, because of the teachings of the Watchtower, really pushing on, staying with the husband and in the marriage. And I go back and I read some of those articles and I'm just like, wow, it just fits. And so, I was very young in the mid 80s and I left as a young teenager and started abusing alcohol and drugs. And, for decades, I was gone for about 25 years, but for a long time, I pointed at my stepfather for the abuse, my mom for leaving, and kept going back, and because and it wasn't until I realized how grateful I actually was for the life that I did. Well, that I was like, I used to think I was forced to endure in the organization or in my family. Because even when I left, I didn't just leave as a teenager. I announced as bad association, not being baptized, but they announced me from the from the stage, yeah. And so my whole family shunned me. My mom would talk to me once in a while, but but she didn't have me over and whatnot. But she talked to me if I called. But anyway, and so I just blamed my family, the organization, for abusing alcohol and drugs for many years. Yeah. So the thing is, it wasn't until that I looked inward, and that I realized that it is getting better. I stopped pointing fingers and blaming outside myself, and I actually became grateful because I met Shannon. 3 days after I got out of prison, it's so much, there's so much to unpack there, but it wasn't until I became grateful for the organization when I actually started to heal.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, everybody's got their own story behind it, but that's what was good. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, John.
Yeah, we look forward to your show. So tell us again when it's going to be on, the day and time.
It's going to be on Mondays at 7 p.m. and it's called Deservingly You. And to hopefully help people to rewrite their stories and live their life with curiosity. Because that's one of the things that I often will tell people in regards to the cancer journey for me. Curiosity cured the cancer. Yeah. It was through that I was able, I chose my path. I had my journey and my path. And so it was about making sure that no matter how I stepped forward, it was what myself and my body was calling for. And so I did not have chemotherapy. I did not have radiation. And I was, the diagnosis was in 2016. And so have been clear over 5 years now.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. Is it going to be this kind of a format where people can call in? Is it live?
Yeah, it will be live. And what we're going to be doing is bringing teaching some coaching things in the beginning. And so going through that, having interaction with the chat, and then at the end, giving one or two or possibly even three, one at a time, the opportunity to come on the stage and ask us questions.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, we wish you well with
Yes.
I think a big piece of it is helping people to step into their authentic self rather than remaining.
Yeah.
Even if it means letting people go, the emotional and psychological toil on them is far greater if they stay in that, where they can't be genuine. And then
what I think what you're going to expose them to is information that's really transformational for them.
Mm-hmm.
The society kept that away from people, and it's hard to overestimate the power of new transformational thoughts.
Yeah.
And when they're delivered like that, like you are, it's going to be helpful.
Yeah. It's so nice that, we have these programs, what you're doing, what we're trying to do, what Ruby's doing, and, bringing on people that'll help us go that next step. Because, you can rehash what it was like to be a witness or being shunned, and people need to expose that and explain it and go through it. But the next step, we always say, we're graduates. We graduated, because in the Watchtower, they would always tell us, never graduate from the, the ministry school. You'll never graduate.
I said, the heck with you. We're graduating.
I love what you said there, Fran, about rehashing. Mm-hmm. And we like to meet people where they're at in that space, but then pull them forward and out of that and going forward. Like the counselors or therapists, right? They like to help, which is good. They help people to unravel things in the past and help them unpack that. But then for a coach to take them and pull them forward and help them discover who they are, who they want to be, and help them become.
Yep.
Yes.
And the other thing, like with the coaching too, is we experienced things, and so it's like, how do you take those traumas and take the lessons from the traumas and bring them forward with as part of your story. So our company, the name of our company is Luminous Connections. And what it comes from is the idea of kintsugi. So do you know what kintsugi is? So
No.
kintsugi is the Japanese art form of taking broken pottery and gluing it back together with the gold adhesive. And so that's to me what I felt like the cancer journey was for me. And so I look at my scars and stuff like that from that, and I see gold. And so that's the same kind of thing that we are hoping to be able to help other people do, is take some of those scars and some of those traumas and identify the lessons that they can take from there, and then calm down the pain and learn what to do with that pain so that they can move on, so they can find their purpose, so that they can have the appropriate influence with the people and have impact, have genuine relationships.
You know, you're leading us right into the videos and what they're going to talk about. You are, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And we'd
we'd like to,
Shannon,
please stay on
Hang
if
on.
you can.
See what you think of this, and then let us know.
And also, if you don't know Gary Alt, he's also a life coach. So maybe sometime you can kind of, exchange
And we can
ideas.
help you connect.
We're in a Facebook group together.
Oh, good. Good.
I saw Gary's comment today. I think it was either today or yesterday.
Good.
Great.
Very good. We're all coming together.
Yeah.
So if you all want to hang in there, you want to, hang around. We're going to show like a 10-minute video and get some ideas here. And it's getting better. That's the theme. It's getting better. Okay, let's see if Sean is ready. Thank you, Paul. We see you there, Paul. We're not ignoring you. Annie, we're not ignoring you either. And finally, Free, we'll give you a chance in a little bit. Hi, Ruby.
Oh, hey. So Shauna had to hop off. I think she's having internet issues. So I don't have that video ready for you guys. I'm sorry.
Okay. Can I send it to you on Discord?
Yes. Yeah, you can send it to me. In the meantime, somebody can, say something. I don't know.
What I'll lead into does anyone know what the word hermetic means? Hermetic. If you were to use that word, it's a common word that would be used maybe in medicine, maybe in food storage. Hermetically sealed. Have you ever heard that? Something's hermetically sealed. Means nothing's going to get at it. No disease, no bacteria, no water, no air, no anything. Sealed. We use that word commonly. It comes from Hermes. And Hermes, more than a man, was a body of information, wise information for people, for man. And this goes way back to ancient Egypt, not the Egypt that we were exposed to. The Egypt we were exposed to is so bogus. It's not the real ancient Egypt. But this information was hidden by the government, the rulers, and the religions, because it helped people be the powerful creatures that we are. They're afraid of the people. They knew that if the people knew their abilities and practiced them, they'd never be able to guide them. They wouldn't be able to dominate them. So the goal of the government and religion was to hide this, seal it off from the people. And they did. And that's basically what religion has achieved. It's hidden these things. And now let's see a little bit about what this Hermes is.
Through the density of raw emotions. An initiate doesn't deny what they feel. They transform what they feel into wisdom. This is working with the sacred fire. 6 practice. Live the silence between the words. The corpus says, what is spoken with noise disappears with the wind, but what is heard in silence remains. That's why Every day, practice silence. Turn off your phone. Walk without music. Eat without distractions. Listen more than you speak. Silence is where the nous speaks to you. And if you learn to listen to that silence, you'll receive answers that no technique in the world can offer. Finally, the highest practice: live with the constant remembrance that you are already a part of God. The Corpus Hermeticum wasn't written for you to seek something outside. It was written for you to remember. Every day, when you look in the mirror, look into your own eyes and say, I am a reflection of the divine mind. Do this for 21 days. Observe. Something inside you changes. A vibration begins to settle in. And that's when the ancient text becomes living truth. Because spiritual practice isn't a ritual separate from life. Life is the ritual. And when you start to live with that awareness, the line between the sacred and the ordinary disappears. From here on, the true power of the Corpus Hermeticum begins to reveal itself. And in the next part, you'll discover why so few are able to hold this light without being consumed by it. You noticed, the veil is lifting. And it's no coincidence that the Corpus Hermeticum is resurfacing now, after centuries submerged in forgetfulness, persecuted by the institutions that shaped history to fit their own convenience. When the collective soul begins to awaken, when the system no longer satisfies, when the old structure starts to show signs of collapse, that's when ancient wisdom returns. Not as an archaeological curiosity, but as a living, vibrant, active code. Since the early 20th century, texts once locked away in dark libraries and kept from the people have begun to re-emerge. That's what happened with the Nag Hammadi manuscripts, discovered by peasants in Egypt in 1945. There were apocryphal gospels, Gnostic teachings, revelations about the inner Christ, the divine spark within the human being, all the things the institutional religious system tried to bury. Few knew, but that discovery also paved the way for a new reading of the Corpus Hermeticum. The echoes were the same. The call to the divine within, to reintegration with the all, to freedom from the conditioned mind. In 1995, another milestone, the modern translation of the so-called Book of Thoth. A set of fragments once thought indecipherable began to be revealed in a new light, not as Egyptian superstition, but as a vibrational map of consciousness. This book, attributed to the same source that inspired Hermes Trismegistus, speaks of the soul as a traveler between planes, of the body as a temple of transmutation, of the word as a bridge between the visible and invisible worlds. And once again, time showed that these truths could not be suppressed forever. The modern world, with all its technology, connectivity, and speed, revealed its other face.
We took our brand new software company ListKit, sent 10,000 and $8,000.
Emptiness. A life full of information, but starving for meaning. And when the emptiness becomes unbearable, the being starts to seek. The wheel turns, the cycle fulfills itself, and the texts that once slept under the dust of centuries are now being read as if they were written yesterday, because they were written for today. Hermes wasn't speaking to his time. He was speaking to the time when humanity would be ready. And that time is now. That's why the Corpus Hermeticum is coming back. That's why the name Hermes is being whispered again. Because those who already feel they don't belong to the illusion of the common world are beginning to hear the call, a silent but urgent call, a remembrance that pulses deep in the soul. You already knew all of this. You had just forgotten. But now, you can't pretend you didn't see. The secret has been exposed. The forbidden wisdom has returned. And it returns because there's a clear mission: to rebuild the lost link between the human and the divine, not through worship, but through embodiment, not through religion, but through awareness. The new era demands that seekers become masters, that readers become alchemists, that the awakened become active. Because what's at stake now isn't just your well-being, it's the way reality itself will be shaped from here on out. And if you've made it this far, it's not by accident. Maybe you're one of those who are starting to feel like you're part of that rebuilding, that you didn't come here to repeat the old world, but to remember that the power that creates worlds also lives inside you. Maybe you haven't realized it yet, but something has already shifted inside you. It wasn't the video or the words. It was the silent impact of an ancient truth moving through your consciousness, a truth that can no longer be unheard. The Corpus Hermeticum is not a book to be understood. It's a book to be felt. It doesn't speak to the logical mind. It touches that part of you that already knew, but got buried under the noise of the world, the repetitions of the ego, the stories you were told about who you were supposed to be. And that's why, while you watched, maybe a tightness in your chest came up, an unexplained emotion, a sudden urge to breathe deeper. That's no coincidence. It's the soul beginning to remember. Because when you read the corpus with presence, you're not just accessing ancient information, you're activating forgotten frequencies. And those frequencies stir everything. They break down patterns, deprogram beliefs, dissolve masks. They don't ask permission, they enter. And if you let them, they transform. This book moves through you like a silent lightning bolt. You might try to resist, to rationalize it, to say it's just some ancient philosophy. But deep down, you know, something in it is too true to ignore. And it doesn't matter if you understand every word or if you've read 1,000 books before. This one doesn't operate through mental comprehension. It works through vibrational recognition. It reveals inside you a mirror you didn't know you carried. And when you look into that mirror, you don't see the you that wakes up every day for another ordinary day. You see a spark of something greater, something eternal, something that was never separate from the source. That's why the Corpus Hermeticum changes your life, even if you don't fully understand it right away. Because it plants, it waters, and little by little, it breaks through the internal concrete where nothing could grow.
Vibration can crystallize matter into forms like a spinal column, complete with movement like a living centipede. Vibration.
It creates space. And in that space, remembrance enters, the remembrance that you are not small, that you are not at the mercy of anything, that there is a real, divine, living power pulsing inside you, and that the world only seems the way it does because you forgot that. The truth isn't in the pages. It's in what the pages activate in you. But for that to truly happen, you have to allow it. Allow yourself to be moved, broken open, transformed. And that takes courage, because there's no turning back. Once you feel the truth, you can't pretend the illusion satisfies you anymore. The comfort of the old world no longer fits. And that might be scary, but it also sets you free, because it's at this point that you understand you don't need to become anything. You just need to remember. And everything starts with that silent calling that started vibrating inside you while you were listening. And now, with that vibration lit, there's just one step left before the final revelation. Because what the Corpus Hermeticum reveals at the end is not some hidden secret, but a choice only you can make. And that choice will be the turning point. You've made it this far, and maybe you don't even realize it. But this is already part of the transformation, because by allowing yourself to be touched by these words, something ancient and essential has been reactivated within you. The Corpus Hermeticum was never a book with a beginning, middle, and end. It is a mirror of the universe, and the universe is an eternal beginning. Nothing ends, everything reveals. And now that this knowledge has crossed your path, it's not going to leave. It settles quietly, germinating until it blooms when you least expect it. This sacred text doesn't require academic understanding. It doesn't want to be interpreted. It wants to be lived. It wants you to feel in your body and soul that you were never separate from the source. That every step you've taken, every breath, every choice has always been a thread leading you back to the center, to the point of origin, to the remembrance of what you are beyond names, roles, and the stories you were taught to live. Now, with everything that's been said, there's only one thing left. Cross. Cross this invisible portal between who you were before and what is beginning to emerge now. And for that, no ritual is needed. Just presence. Breathe with intention. Be silent without expecting anything. And return to the words that touched you. Reread them, not to understand with your mind, but to let them echo through your energetic field. Because that's how transmutation happens. Subtle, deep, irreversible. The corpus hermeticum won't give you ready-made answers, because true teaching was never about answers. It was about remembering that the right questions already live inside you, and that the moment you stop searching outside, everything starts to align. The veil lifts, the noise quiets, and the divine, which has always been with you, finally finds space to manifest. You may feel a subtle change in the coming days, a new way of seeing what once felt ordinary, an urge to step away from distractions, a longing for silence, for truth, for depth. That's the call deepening, and the more you listen to it, the more the old world loses its grip, and the new begins to rise. This isn't a goodbye, it's a reminder. Remembrance has no end, it only unfolds. And now, with what you carry, the universe will respond differently, because the portal has opened and it no longer closes. If you made it this far, leave a comment. The divine in me has awakened. That's
Okay.
Hello. Hi, Craig.
Hi, Craig, and Seth is on, and Annie's still with us, and
And-
Gary, and Shannon, and John.
And John.
Thank you for hanging in there.
Yeah. Did that resonate with anyone? Is that...
Unfortunately, I caught that towards the end, so had to kind of do a little digging to find out what the corpus hermeticum was.
Yeah.
So, I'll have to take a look at that some other time.
Oh, it's due. It really is the kind of food for our mind that helps it grow. That's the best way I could characterize it. It doesn't bind us. It opens us. Any comments or insights from anybody?
I actually just got a comment from my sister-in-law who is watching as well. She's a sound bath practitioner. And what she was saying was, she goes, this all goes really well with my sound baths at the vibrational level that can help release. She does like live sound baths, and then it can help release a lot of the stuff that's been stuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Thank her for us. I got a comment here from Wildwall. He says, Hermes
Trismegistus.
Trismegistus, right?
Trismegistus, yeah.
Okay. We're still generally believed to be of ancient Egyptian origin and to date from before the time of Moses or even before the biblical flood.
Yeah. The Trismegistus, what that just means is thrice wise. In other words, it's a body of wisdom that could guide you in your journey through life. Now, you might say, well, what about the Bible? No doubt everybody here is aware of the Bible. And if you compare it with the Bible, you'd see that the Bible really is a book of basically domination. and not a book to free people. This is totally different because what it does, it acknowledges that we are of source. Now, some people might want to say, put God in there, but frankly, the concept and the notion of God is something that was made up by man. Interesting. One way you might think of God, G-O-D, is guardians of dogma. Who are the guardians of dogma? And of course, it was the religions. The religions became the guardians of dogma, and we're the ones that get to obey all its laws and are subject to all its penalties. And some would say, well, what about the promises? Well, what about the promises? We've seen a lot of promises that go unfulfilled. So the difference with this, and again, it's the corpus hermeticus and also the Kabbalion, which goes along with it, basically opens a person up to the knowledge that he is of God, able to remember who he is, who she is, who doesn't need to be told who they are by a religion, that doesn't exist in sin, that has questions that lead them forward in a journey. And the journey is according to you, the individual, not what someone says, you should this, you should that, you should not this, thou shalt this, thou shalt not that. It's not that at all. And the way it brought it out is like, now this is the time for it, because everything that has gone before us, religions basically have failed. They've failed, and people are basically voting with their feet. They're leaving religions. If you do a little search on YouTube under religions and love, you'll find people are leaving religions like it was a bad toothache, as well as Christianity, and in discussing what they need to go forward. What do we need to go forward in our journey? Because the religions just have failed them. And this is where the knowledge, that hidden knowledge, it is something that wouldn't have gone, it wouldn't have competed well with people who are obeying the Bible, because it goes contrary. Well, if you think of it, people have had the opportunity to test out the Bible, test out Christianity, test out religion, and they found that it doesn't support them. What it does, it directs them toward wars. Religions get people to want to kill each other if they're different. Well, why should we do that? Unless, of course, someone wants to dominate us and wants to use us for their greed, and if they also don't love us. So basically, this is the time for the resurfacing of this information. And that's why things are getting better.
Anyone have anything to add or thoughts?
Step away.
Yeah.
Paul.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, go ahead.
I think Paul
Paul
is
had
first.
his hand up, so hang in there. Hang in there, Dan.
Whole meeting thing, I'm still raising my hand. Oh, I got deep into metaphysics, and I read most of the works of the Hermeticum. I think the thing that was killing me is I stopped believing in a benevolent God and just started believing in a creator. And so my whole take on it is, you know, if there is a creator, if there is a God, we can literally learn everything that we're allowed to know about him by looking at nature, you know. And so I've just started looking at religion as just another way to control man by taking whatever understanding that you could find by looking at nature and what was created and twisting and turning it into something else. And so those times, I tell John, I think we followed somewhat of a similar path. I got into drugs and alcohol and did a stint in prison and all that stuff. And the time that I spent in prison, I spent reading. Of course, when I got out, I tried to be at JW again. That didn't work out because it went contrary to everything I read. But
Yeah.
I think you're right about people fleeing religions, and there's a good reason for it.
Oh, you just do a cruise around the internet, and you're going to find out that that's just exploding. It's exploding now.
Yep. Well, John's got to get up at 2 a.m. So we need to go.
Well, thank you for coming
joining.
on, folks.
Yes.
We look forward to more of you.
Yeah, we want to hear you.
So nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You
And
too.
everyone else that's joined us tonight. Appreciate you guys.
All right, and thanks for the warm welcome too.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
I think Dan, did you want to say something?
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, I can you hear me all right?
Yes, well.
All right, good. I agree with Paul. The Hermetic teachings basically get out of the matrix and to be in a meditative state, super alert and aware of your surroundings, sunsets, sound waves, aromatherapy. There's so many different mediums that tie together, but the main thing is when you're focused on the moment, the very, very moment that we're living, that is as close as you're going to get to seeing so-called the real life right in front of you. You can hear birds singing a song, not only sounds, but the speed at which they get back to, even the sound of the waves. There's a certain rhythm. Sound waves, when it's plugged into a unit where you have grains of sand or salt, it actually creates patterns of designs depending on the hertz or the
vibrations.
Or what do you call it? The
frequency.
Vibrations and frequencies can create different designs every time you change it. So that what we're looking at is what we're going to become.
Yeah.
As far as I think, because in this life we're living the physical part, but what if you think about yourself in a godlike state? Would it be you become the music, you are the vibration, you are the pattern of design? And a lot of it has to do with the golden ratio. It's a very layered thing. But Hermetic teachings teach you to prepare that.
Dan, I'm going to break in and ask you, why would the religions not want you to think that way?
Because it would distort their message, and they wouldn't have control. This is you finding the best version of yourself. They don't want you to find the best version of yourself, and you also figure out what you're made of and where you're going. They want you to believe that there's some kind of reward that you have to earn to get this.
Yeah. And this is, and you're describing, yeah. Well, I mean, you're describing ascension. We're ascending out of that pit of control that they put us in as slaves. They just want us. Look, even the Bible was honest with some things, and it said all the time that man has dominated man to his injury. Well, why do they want to do that? Because they want to use people. They don't love people. They don't want you to be the best you are. They didn't want me to be the best I am. They wanted the best I could give them as a worker bee. people are realizing,
You know, Joe-
we're more than that.
Can I just
You know what,
read
Joe?
Seth? Excuse me a second, Dan. I just want to read Seth's comment. He's right here. The one thing we can all take from the JWs, religion is a snare and a racket. Where have I heard that before? But true study, true believing, that is something special, very special.
Yeah, true believing. Who determines what's true?
Good question.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a valid point. Who's the determiner of what's true? For me, it's not going to be the same as for what my wife is. My wife, when we left, we have different views on different things, and that's okay. It's okay. It's okay to be different. You don't have to be cut and paste the same thing.
You know, and people have, for thousands of years, before religion, gotten along with others who were different. They had no reason. They had no reason to go. There's a simple statement that says, "Let's live and let live. Live and let live." You know, I wouldn't want someone to interfere with my life. Why should I interfere with theirs? But yet, this is where government dominators and religion comes in. They say, "We want to control you. We know what we want out of you. We want you to obey us. And if you don't, we're going to hurt you." Oh, and if you obey, we're going to reward you. Maybe not. In fact, people have had opportunity enough to find this out. It's been tested. Religions have been tested over the millennium. Plenty of wars have come out of it. People have continued to be hating each other in their differences because of religion. So basically, they're realizing, you know what? We need something better. We want something better. And frankly, it's there. It's been there. It says it's basically it's remembering it. I like that. It's remembering it.
Yeah.
How's your little one? Ready for a comment?
He is cranky and ready to talk all the time.
How old is he, Seth?
He turns 2 years old. He'll
the
be
terrible
2
twos.
and on June 20th. So
June 20th.
He entered those terrible twos extremely early.
Just Seth, you may or may not know this, but just a kind of a warning. The 2 year, that's when they start to put everything in their mouth to test. Ooh. And so many children have suffocated because of that. So be very watchful.
He just learned today how to open the deadlock on our door.
Okay.
How to open the deadbolt.
Yeah.
And he ran outside. He opened that thing and ran outside. We heard the door open.
Be watchful.
Now he knows. So
seriously.
Now we got to get it locked to put up higher.
Yes. Yeah.
Seth, the twos are a preview of the teenage years. That's true. I raised a boy, and at 3, he was telling me he could take care of himself.
Yeah.
And so I found out when he hit the teen years, he certainly had that attitude.
I feel like he's already a teenager. I really do. And it's going way too fast.
That's exactly right. Yep.
What's his name?
Dakota.
Hi, Dakota.
Say hi. You want to say hi?
Hi.
Say hi, friends. He said, "I don't have to grow up in the cult. We got out soon enough."
Good for him.
Yes.
Oh, we want to say hi to Pasta Babe. You're patiently waiting.
Cola.
Okay.
Dakota. I heard him say Dakota.
Dakota.
Oh my
Very
goodness,
nice.
he knows his name. Oh my gosh, you're so handsome. Yeah, I used to have to put those things on my doors that would go beep if somebody walked out the door. Okay, I had a 3-ring circus of kids.
Yes.
And I had to think of all kinds of stuff to help me keep track of them. But yeah, that's just showing how brilliant he is. Yes, you are so smart.
He is very smart. Well,
kids at that age is like taking care of drunk little people.
And I'm having baby fever right now. And it's crazy for the guy to have baby fever, but I'm ready for another one.
No.
Is
Look.
wifey is wife in the mood for another baby?
Oh, wifey, are you in the mood? I don't think so.
Look, Seth, why don't you let him get a job first, and then you can have another one.
That sounds good. That sounds good.
Oh, that's too funny.
Wow.
He is very handsome, very, very smart.
And Marissa, hi Marissa. Nice to have you with us.
Hi.
Hello.
Marissa from California.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Oh,
We
Marissa
met
from
Marissa in
California.
You
person.
remember that well.
Yeah, and Apasta Babe was there. Yeah, that was a good meetup. And we also have Kevin
Hey guys.
Moxie with us. Hi, Kevin.
Hello.
Hey, I've talked to you guys a bunch, so thanks for letting me on.
Oh, you're welcome. Clint. Thank you for coming on. Anyone have any thoughts about what we've been talking about?
I do. You might not want me on the show anymore, but
Oh,
this
go
video,
ahead.
this video we just watched reminds me a lot of that Jehovah's Witness quote. Even if something makes no sense from a human standpoint, we are to obey anyways, right? And so what I've learned about like new religious movements and beginnings of things that can become dangerous, cults and stuff like that, they usually start off with some form of a hidden, that just been found knowledge. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was picking up on that. And then a whole lot of what I would call word salad, nothing burger. That was, some people are catching on to it and it makes perfect sense to them. And that's great. I'm not, if it does, cool. For me, no. That was a definite no.
Well, see,
As far
that's
as I'm supposed to, yeah, no. Yeah,
and see, you're exercising the very thing that it states.
Am I?
Well, you're
Of
sovereign.
course I am. Go ahead,
Yeah.
please explain.
Your sovereignty, your right to rule that about yourself. That's your right.
That's a beautiful right too. I mean, it's something
Thank you.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you any less of a person or a different person. It makes you someone who's able to control their own sovereignty. I do like that, the way Joe put that.
Okay.
That's
I
what
didn't
it's
see it
about.
that way.
Well,
Yeah.
see, that's what what it's about, and I mean, if I can say anything about it, it's super old. It's not new. It's old.
Yeah.
And it's, in my mind, it was something that the governments and the religions did not want people to know, because it gave them their abilities to be who they are, who they want to be. Government says, we don't want them to be who they want them to be. We want them to be who we want them to be. They got arms and legs. We want them to use them for us. They viewed us as workers.
True. Yes, true.
So it's just information,
Mhm.
and you don't have to believe it. There's so many different ways to go.
Mhm.
That's
Everyone
right.
has to find their own way.
Exactly.
Maybe bits and pieces will resonate with you, but if it doesn't resonate with you, just let it go.
Oh,
Exactly.
What about?
Exactly.
Isn't it like food? Does everybody say, "Here's the food you should eat"? Just this food. Oh no, I like this. You like that. Well, that's dumb. No, it's not. It's the food you like. It's we determine that for ourselves, and we're fascinated by it. I mean, there's some foods. Oh my God, they eat that, and they look at us and you.
Yeah, I know.
And yet we go forward.
That's right. I know Gail has something to say. Gail always has something.
Good, something good to say. Something she didn't say. Good.
I have that reputation.
Good, Gail.
Good,
Good.
Gail.
Good.
I'm just
Oh,
picking
boy.
on you.
Well, I'm gonna be on a very spiritual note. To me, what I'm been through, what I'm going through, to me, it's a healing road. It's a recovery healing road, and it's a journey towards reclaiming my inner peace and faith.
Amen.
And let's face the leaders exploited our trust and devotion for personal and financial gain. We were all ensnared in a web of manipulation and deception. So waking up for me, it took me 18 months to wake up. And for me, it caused a lot of psychological and spiritual distress. They had us so wrapped up in the group in some way or another. No wonder it's so hard to break free. But breaking free from the grip can be lonely and daunting process. But building a supportive, building a supportive network of friends, family, and fellow survivors is crucial for navigating this journey of healing and connecting with others who understand and validate your experiences can provide a sense of belonging and solidarity. Healing requires courage, patience, and support. Remember, healing is possible and you don't have to walk this path alone. It takes work, but it's a journey. You don't have to go alone. We're going to have slips and falls, but we can get ourselves up without berating ourselves and beating ourselves up. So it's a long journey it's a recovery journey forever, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
So that's where I'm at with healing. And it took me 18 months.
I like that, Gail.
Gail, can we throw in something?
Yeah, go right ahead.
How about tolerance?
Yes, that's a good word too.
Yes. Because look, everybody's here coming from maybe a different angle. Well, that's fine. It's when someone can't tolerate something. And I mean, we came from an organization that would not tolerate certain things.
Yeah.
Well, we're humans. We can tolerate things with each other. In fact, we find it fascinating. We find it intriguing. We find it maybe confusing. We find it inspiring. We find it thought-provoking. Think about that. That's so much that we as humans can deal with.
Gail, did I miss it? But did you say you went to therapy? Did you get this from therapy, or how did you arrive?
This is mine.
Okay.
This is from me. This is from my own recovery and what I've been through. But also, the Watchtower left a mark on me, and I'm sure it left a mark on all of us.
Oh, of course it did.
But breaking free from that is a difficult process. Some go through it quickly. Others it takes time. But whatever, if we're all going to get there one way or the other. And we have to remember that. Do the best you can and stop. I was guilty, and I constantly berated myself, and I realized that was wrong. That was wrong to do, because we didn't do anything wrong. We just got entrapped and ensnared by this ugly organization.
You're right. And they knew it would work, and it did work. It worked. It worked. See, those people, whoever the entities are or whatever, they're experts at understanding our human nature. And so they know how to hack it. Basically, they hacked it. They hacked us.
Yeah, I'm convinced that they've studied human psychology
for
a long time.
Well, look,
no, I disagree. I used to yell at them all the time. They all need to take psychology courses. I said that to all the elders because they have no clue about human behavior, period.
Well,
so
you're talking about healthy. I think you're talking about healthy human behavior.
Right.
Well, no, they need courses on human behavior and psychology.
True.
All the elders do, because they're responsible for the flock. And as far as I'm concerned, their responsibility. I know.
They're responsible to the bottom line. They're responsible to their stockholders.
I know, but come on, as elders, they oversee the flock, and they're responsible for keeping their eyes on the flock, which we all know they don't. It was
no, that's the lie. Look,
that's what I'm saying. They don't understand human emotions. That's why they need courses. They don't understand people.
They don't even know their own flock, or else we wouldn't be where we are today.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. They lost their flock.
That's my point.
They lost their flock.
But it's how you use that information. You can study it. Anyone can study human psychology. But what is the motivation, and how are you going to use that information? You can use it for good, or you can use it to manipulate and basically tear people down.
Yeah. Any one of us could do that.
Yeah.
Any one of us could do that. Question is that what you want to do? No.
Joe Fran. Joe.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
it's Kevin here. Hey, I appreciate
Kevin.
the video earlier. I was kind of doing some distracted, but hi, Fran. Thank you guys so much for the card. That was great.
Oh, you're welcome. Their anniversary.
I was listening earlier to the audio that with the clip, the YouTube clip. It sounded kind of like AI stuff, but through the years, being the good little witness boy, supposedly I was, I delved into the dark arts. Not delved, but I studied this stuff and different stuff. And I treaded the fine line of, okay, these are people I would meet and I would say, oh, that's interesting. I worked with a Wiccan one time. I worked with other people. And I believe throughout history, yes, there are people, even in ancient manuscripts, that wrote look at the Cabal, the Kabbalistic stuff. There is all different ancient traditions, but a lot of that, again, it's you got to be careful where you look at, because a lot of these writings are handed down by alchemists and others that practice, the occult or the hidden world stuff, right? And we all know, I mean, once you start going down that rabbit hole, there is some really strange stuff that you really have to be leery of. But I'm not saying all philosophical writings are bad. It's just there's a fine line there you have to be careful with.
I agree. Now this is where let's all get real.
Yeah.
If we were to be together and talk among each other, how would we determine what would be a good way to go forward? How would we do that? What principles? On what basis?
Otherwise, harmony to people.
That sounds great. Peace.
I think that's a very individual thing. I don't think the group needs to get together. I think the individual.
But we live with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, but everybody has and shares different values.
Yeah.
And like previously, I was very afraid of that stuff. So when Kevin would tell me he was reading that stuff, I was like, "You're nuts," and it frightened me. I didn't want anything to do with it, and I was like a little disturbed that he would even like want to learn about it. But now I'm like, well, everybody has the right to sort of delve into what they want to learn about, as long as they're respecting others.
There's a saying I always remember from my youth: the proof of the pudding is in the tasting.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I'll say, okay, yeah, fair enough. Some things are dangerous, some things are beneficial. How would you know?
Well, everybody, I mean, like, I don't know who said everybody's, different. I mean, I have certain, what do you call it? Sensitivities or not allergies to certain food, right? I might be allergic to chocolate pudding and somebody else might be allergic to strawberry pudding. Everybody that's, I think, what the Watchtower did a really good job of.
Yeah.
And that was robbing us of our autonomy, of our authenticity, of who we are. And so that's part of our journey when we leave the Watchtower, is really, really discovering for the first time in our life, for many of us who weren't adults, who are we?
So it's so interesting.
I agree with you, Marissa.
In the video, he spoke about remembering who we are.
Yeah.
In other words,
I think there's a lot of things that have been hidden from us that we could benefit from having knowledge of, but pay attention to your gut.
when I was little, I remember I found myself saying different things. And when I heard some authority, be it the Pope, or be it the priest, or be it the teacher, or be it some authority thing, spoke it as if from authority, I said, I don't need to be told that. I don't need to. They don't have to tell me that. I know that. Why are they telling me that? It's as if it's almost offensive to try to inject knowledge that you yourself have, that you're growing up with, because we're not dogs. We're humans that have this is where they said we have that divine spark. We have that knowledge. We have knowledge.
Yeah, Richard said he's allergic to JWs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Darn right.
Yeah, I think we all are.
I think it's interesting, Uncle Joe, that you said we're not dogs, but I think they use the Pavlovian dog method on us very, very well.
Okay.
And
Okay.
simple
Okay.
psychology.
So if so Linda, if someone were to do that with you, would you accept it or would you reject it?
It depends if I recognize it or not.
Exactly. A lot of it's automatic.
So is it your responsibility then to recognize it?
It is, yes.
Yeah. And see, that's the point. The point is we need to be so active in the knowledge of ourselves because others are.
But I'm not bothered. Like I did not know better when I was growing up under a rock.
I
wasn't
understand.
allowed, I can give myself grace on that. Like,
of course you didn't know. Of
because
course.
I had nothing to compare it to. But once we learn about it,
That's it.
we might fall for it a few more times, but we'll get out of it quicker.
That's it.
If we,
That's
but
it.
they use very simple techniques of psychology like positive and negative reinforcement, intermittently, trauma bond.
And this is why the faster we communicate with each other who have various beliefs and understandings, we get to find out quicker. When we're not exposed to that, we get tracked into one dominating life. And that's what the Watchtower did. They cheated us of the ability to interact with each other and to learn quicker.
That's right. Yeah. And we want to hear from Ruby.
Hello, Ruby.
Hi, Ruby.
Hi,
Ruby.
Hello, Ruby.
Ruby.
Oh, I think Kevin had his hand up. He can go first.
No, I already said my piece for now. I'll visit later. I can say more later. Oh, the other Kevin. I'm
sorry, the other Kevin.
There's another Kevin. I'm sorry. How do you raise your hand in here? I don't know how to. I'm so used to Zoom.
You got to shout. You got to.
Well, he has a real hand.
That's
you
a real
politely. Look,
not
you got to politely shout.
So I'll let Kevin go. Go ahead, Kevin.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm a pretty quiet guy. Yeah, I to me it's just the ability to think that you're allowed once you finally break out, and then to discover what you think. I've read the Kabbalah, and there's some things in there that I don't agree with. Do I believe that Hermes Trismegistus reincarnated, all these times in order to lead us? I don't know. But the ability to say I don't know or to even think was so stifled, in our lifetime. And by the way, Ruby, I'm a big fan of the work you do. So it's an honor to speak in this setting.
Aw, thank you.
It's just being able to explore other ideas and other options and other ways of thinking has just been a blessing to me. And whether you think it's right or wrong, I've seen so many people come out of this organization and then join another organization like the LGBTQ, like they'll just jump right into that.
It's not. Never mind.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's not.
Yeah, I do. There's this thing called
Linda.
cult
I
hopping.
got you, Linda. Kevin, Kev, we're gonna clarify something, but
I'm not smashing them. I'm not smashing them at all. But I just see them joining other things as a purpose, and I'm like, you're giving up one convention for another convention. Sometimes it kind of feels like to me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. In the LGBTQ community, we don't get recruited. We in our in our journey of discovering who we authentically are, we might discover that we're gay or lesbian or even transgender. Okay, I know that's a tough one to hear today, but some do.
No,
Okay?
I totally
And they-
get that. I'm not against that. I'm not against that, or I'm not holding on to any of my old strings or nothing. But
Look,
at the same time, sometimes it's like
so
one
is there
type of activism sometimes turns into another type of activism, and I'm like, man, you just gave up. You just gave up all this. You just gave up this activism lifestyle to do another type of activism lifestyle.
Isn't that part of a journey?
Yeah.
Well, see, and this is where people differ by their adventuresomeness. In other words, I don't want to go there. I don't know what's there. I'm afraid of it. Or I like what I like.
Deathly afraid of it. I fought it. I was a lesbian and knew I was forever and didn't come out until I was 41.
Yeah.
Okay. I struggled with that a lot, but I wasn't like recruited. And there's this joke that goes on amongst the lesbian community that you get a toaster and all these cute little things if you get recruited, because it's such a silly thing. You don't get recruited, but it's a lot of society at large thinks that it's a movement that we are trying to groom other people to join us, and it's really not. I've never heard of anybody who wants to recruit anybody. It's not.
Right.
You're not going to come knocking on my door trying to recruit me?
I'm the local lesbians wanting to know if you'd like to know the truth.
Oh, shucks.
No. Linda, can I ask you a question? Would you say, would it be a fair assessment to say, I always knew ...
Yes.
Would that be a fair assessment?
Yes, and I struggled with it, especially because from what I had heard from the Bible is that God was not okay with it.
Oh,
and I did not want to displease God,
But
I had
look,
to do a lot of research.
But and yet you remembered what you knew you always were.
Yeah,
Yes.
and you
remembered
and you lived your authentic life, and you're not, it's not something someone told you. Hey, Linda, I think you're lesbian.
So think how many more things that are like that. It's just an example.
Yeah.
That we all of us can go through. Hands up.
Hands up.
All right. Can I say one more thing?
Please.
My daughter left the house at 18 because she wanted to pursue a lesbian lifestyle, and I tried to not get her to go because I was at that point kind of woken up from everything, and I said, you don't have to do this. And she's cut us off as a family, which is kind of heartbreaking for me. And I don't even know where she is. I don't have her phone number. I don't have anything like that. And her twin sister, she has a twin sister who struggled with the same thing in her early life. And we ended up, it was just a hard journey the whole way.
Some journeys are.
But at the same time, it's like, I don't, I love my daughter and I want her to be happy. And I want the best for her no matter what. And I still want to be in her life, but she's got this idea from being raised as a witness that I'm never going to accept her.
Right.
Which is
I get it.
Which is far from the truth.
I get it.
Well, Kevin, don't stop trying, reaching out to her. I mean, I know you said you don't know where she is, but somehow just keep trying, and she'll get the message.
There's some things that just take time to learn. The confusion is massive sometimes.
Yeah.
We go through that with our four. Now, we still try to communicate with them, but we never get any responses back.
Right.
Never. Well, we're not going to stop
Right.
trying.
Mm-hmm.
May I say something? I'm really sorry to hear about that the relationship isn't happening at this time. That kind of stuff breaks my heart. There's terminology that can be used. For instance, the term lifestyle implies it's a choice. And if it's a choice, then we can choose to not be a lesbian. And it also implies that if we chose to be part of the LGBTQ, it means we chose to be bad. And if we chose to be bad, why don't we just choose to be good, like a straight person? You know, that's the implication. Like it was one
but
day.
I'm using the terminology where her mindset is.
Okay. But I just wanted to let you know.
I'm not using my own terminology.
So she thinks it's bad in his eyes.
I'm using.
She thinks it's bad in your eyes, Kevin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to hear that.
She thinks that I care more than I do, and I really don't.
Well, you know, time.
Some things just take time.
It's just time. Yeah, and she's young.
They just take time.
So hang in there, and just keep trying.
Always louder. Keep trying.
Wow.
And Linda, am I right that I don't know too much about that community really, but am I right in saying that there's no real rules?
Right.
Like this is if you're lesbian, well, this is how you have to live. If you're heterosexual, this is how you have to live. It's still just a very individual thing. I mean, yes, maybe you seek people out who are similar to yourself, the same as everyone does, that you're comfortable with, but you still get to be yourself and live your life the way you want to, right?
Well,
right.
This is a point.
My agenda list is pretty much like yours. I'm going to pick up some milk at the store and some bread. And that's, there's a misunderstanding that there's an agenda to ruin the world or something.
I think they made it an agenda. Linda, I think they made it an agenda.
Yes.
In other words, they weaponized a gender.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, they took it on and said, let's call it da. Mm-hmm. Well, wait a minute. I can just live it. I don't need to be called something, do I?
Yeah, pigeonhole people.
Yeah. See, sometimes these are political. There's political reasons for doing it.
It can be, yeah. I mean, within society at large, the LGBTQ community is about 10% of people. And then when you get down to transgender of this 10% group, it's like even maybe 1% or even less than 1%. And the narrative that's out there is like this transgender community is out to just do all kinds of evil. And I know a good 6 people that are transgender that are not about any of that.
Is it fair to say that a gay person may say, I don't care what anybody says, I'm gay, but I'm not part of the LGBT community?
There could be some people that choose to not have any friends that are gay like themselves, sure.
Well, maybe not friend. Maybe it's not so much they don't have friends there, but they don't want to be, as someone said, pigeonholed.
Yeah, could you be gay and not be part of that community? Is that what you're asking, Joe?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that possible?
Well, I had a question with that.
I think my daughter, she's going through her stuff, and like as little as I know about her, her sisters still kind of keep up with her online.
Good.
And she's just not like activism stuff. Like she's just kind of like living out her life the way she wants to live it.
Yeah.
You know, like Kevin, and that's cool with me. Like I'm cool with that.
Kevin, could you consider that she might just be very ashamed?
I think that she doesn't talk to us because she thinks that like her mom is still in mindset and sisters are still in the mindset of the JDub community. But she knew when she was leaving that I was out and she still doesn't even reach out to me, which kind of hurts me because I'm like, I understand you, like, you know, I just want to like, I want to be, you know, I want to be your dad still, and like that that kind of hurts.
See, that you're talking about something. She would need to be fluid. In other words, able to navigate through a tricky change in relationship. That is not natural all the time. Not that sometimes that takes a long time to learn.
Yeah.
I think what Linda was, I believe what I heard her say was that sometimes the language that we use can isolate us from reaching or the heart of the people we want to be close to. Linda,
Yeah.
did I understand?
Sometimes we feel very misunderstood.
Yeah.
And
I think,
and that might not even be the case or the intention of others. That's why I brought it up, because that whole term lifestyle, like as if, you know, if we could really choose a lifestyle, it would be of the rich and famous.
Right.
You know, because there's some good money there, right?
Yes.
It wasn't my words.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I'm hearing from you.
Not my words.
Okay. I didn't know that. And thank
Someone
you for
had a question
correcting
too.
me.
Someone had a Seth. You have a question?
Yeah, I have a question, and of course, it could be a little controversial, and I hope it makes sense the way I asked it. On the topic of cults and LGBTQ and all of this, when growing up, I know that they just kept adding letters to that and pigeonholing people to that.
I can't
and
hear anything.
Hi, buddy. It's LGBTQ plus. Now, then they keep adding to that. Isn't that the same thing? Hold on, buddy. As creating a cult?
If you could repeat the question, I can't hear it.
Yes. Yes.
Is that creating
That's
a cult?
creating
Just
a
keep
cult.
adding. Okay. Is it because that mentality for it? We're part of something that was quite dangerous. So doing that and grouping people into that community, that's essentially the same thing we were doing by calling everyone who is an ExJW an apostate or something like that.
So I can agree with cult if it has to do with culture, but not a high demand, high control, abusive,
you guys, can I come in?
group.
Can I come in on this, please?
I just wanted to talk about whoever agreed that it was a cult.
Right, Apostle Babe. I think what Kevin is talking about is when you take a topic, and identity politics, and he started out by talking about the gay community. I can be bisexual, but by not getting involved with the protests in the clubs and the whole saturation of that identity politic, that's when it becomes a cult. Just like a dog club. A dog club can become a cult if all you think about is dogs, dogs, dogs. Dogs, 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 dog shows, dog clubs, dog shows, dog, dog, dog. That's when it becomes the cult, and it becomes the new, you know, even ExJW. If there's too much saturation in that one topic, then you're kind of stuck in dwelling on that new. It's trauma bonding, actually, and trauma bonding can be positive, but if there's too much of it, it can go in reverse, and that's what Kevin was talking about. The oversaturation of your identity, and now things.
What would that look like?
The topic tonight is things getting better, and things are getting better because we have the time and the ability to do a variety of things that we never did before. But we don't have to, if I'm straight, I don't have to have a straight parade. If I'm gay, I don't have to go to a gay parade.
Who here wants to be locked into an identity?
No.
Anybody want to be locked into an identity?
Next month is June, which is considered Pride Month. And it's considered Pride Month because of times when back in the day when we really had to be on the down low, and we would only meet in places that were called like speakeasies, because if any of us was ever found out, and this is like before 1973, we were not considered before 1973. Anybody in this category was considered mentally ill. So that was taken away in 1973. So before that, if the police with their paddy wagon showed up in a bar that's usually ran by the mob, and they take them all out of the bar and they all get doxxed. So psychiatrists, dentists, people that could not be their authentic selves had to do it on the down low. It was really a horrible thing that they didn't have. They've always been here, okay? Even with the Native Americans, they're considered two-spirited. You know, those that are either transgender or gay or lesbian, they're considered two-spirited, and they're very revered in the Native American culture. But so what happened in June happened because we could finally actually be out and not be doxxed and not be treated like not be treated as we used to be, which comes to that story of Stonewall. You may have heard of it. It was one of the first famous little dive bars where gay people would gather. And finally somebody fought back the police, and that was a 3-day riot. Wow. And it was a transgender woman who took the beer bottle with the rag and then lit it on fire and threw it back, because we never did. We always just went in shame, and bought into the shame, which it's hard to not be in the shame, but the more you educate yourself, whatever. But so that's what Pride Month is based on, that we can actually not be treated as we used to be.
So Linda, you could almost look at the American culture previously as a cult that was unhealthy for some of its members. And it became more healthy by accepting a group that was in it.
Yeah, acknowledging that it actually exists.
Yeah, and accepted it and tolerated like everyone else.
But people don't have to. It doesn't mean that they're going to join or be that. Just
it's acceptance.
You actually deserve to exist. Those of you that are transgender, but that's not. And there's transgender people that I know that went into the service and fought for your right to hate us, and they would do it again. There's amazing people. And there's assholes too,
I appreciate this frank conversation. I really appreciate this. And we just don't want to leave out finally Free and Richard.
Yes, I'm sorry, guys.
To say,
Thanks for letting me talk.
No, we're still here. We got 20 minutes left, so hang on to your thoughts.
Can I just say one thing to Kevin before you?
Gail, please.
Kevin, hi. My name's Gail, and I go by Gigi. I have a daughter. She was sexually abused by a father who's an elder. I don't know if he still is, but they try to discourage me about my relationship. But what I'm going to say to you is, let your daughters know you love them, which I'm sure you do. But this is what I tell my daughter. I leave my door open for my daughter no matter what. I'm never closing. I told them this too. I didn't care if they disfellowship me. I'm never closing the door on my children. Never.
Amen.
That's right.
Amen.
Yeah. Thank you, Gail.
You're welcome.
Yeah. We're the same.
Yep.
I have a question I never could figure out. Why does one human care that much about the sexuality of another human? I don't care what any of you do in the privacy of your bedroom. It's none of my business.
You see, you don't, but the society you live in does.
But why?
Because they want to control it.
Even if they feel it's wrong, and I'm not saying it's wrong, even if someone feels it's wrong, that those people, like all of us, if we believe in God, if that's what their basis is, we're accountable to that God. We're not accountable to each other. Why do we even care so much? I just don't care what people do.
I think a lot of times don't they point to like biblical examples of Sodom and Gomorrah?
Yeah, but even at that, there's still, if they believe in God and they believe that Bible's real and that account is real, and that's what they're basing their hatred on, it doesn't matter, because in the end, everyone based on that is accountable to God. They're not accountable. You're not accountable to your neighbor.
Well, in
Yeah,
many
but
cases,
Hurricane Katrina happened because of all of the gay
because of the
people.
guy.
I mean, they make up all sorts of stuff.
Fundamentalists.
I mean, they make up crazy stuff to blame somebody that, I mean, it's
If people can be convinced that we're out to change your children, to take them out of school and change their sex, you would be scared, and rightly so.
Exactly.
Okay, so there's a lot of stories that are not, in fact, the case, and as long as they can keep people scared of us, that kind of hate can easily rise up.
So hang on to the thoughts. Let's just say goodnight to Dakota.
Good night, Dakota.
Love
We say
you.
good night to you. Good night,
Until the
cutie.
night.
night.
Give your parents hell.
Dreams.
Oh, he does.
Later.
Later, alligator.
He's adorable.
We did want to hear from Fallen and Richard too, please.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
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 Finally free. I'm sorry. Did
So
I say
I got
finally
the
free?
video on today because I just
there you
can't
are.
wear
Oh, we
anymore.
can see what you look like.
I'm
Beautiful.
free. Yeah, I'm free. Hi. Yeah. So it's getting better. I did want to take a shout out to, of course, Joe and Fran, also to Linda. She really helped me on Sunday because I was still getting emailed and guilted by the person I revered as a spiritual guide to me back into trafficking. And it was really hard for me to, I mean, I woke up Sunday crying because they sent the message during the time that I would normally go to the meeting. So, that's an emotional time, And so, one thing that I appreciate, and I like the title about It's Getting Better, is because Linda shared with me that the manipulation tactics are expert level. They're not mediocre.
No.
And so she's like, you have every right to feel this way and to be bawling because this is how it's been choreographed for you to feel. And so once I saw that, and I didn't feel guilty, I was feeling so guilty for missing all these people that were abusing me and using me. I miss them so much because they're all I ever knew.
Yes.
And once I got over that, and then I realized I can take control over my own narrative.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, was it really just this simple and just believing in myself? Is it that simple?
Yeah, finally, when you were telling me, you said it was like an addiction. Having these people in
Yeah,
your
it was
life.
like an addiction because I was just waiting for them to care about me or waiting for them to let me know that God's favor was upon me. But I mean, I had to just really look at it like from the scriptural or the moral code that they gave since I was baptized at 8. I haven't broken any of those standards. And that's what I didn't understand. Yeah, I've never been disfellowship, reproved. Nobody can say I slept with Finally Free. I mean, except my husband. But it's like what I didn't like is that it was okay for me to be trafficked. But then if I found someone I loved that I wasn't married to and it was consensual, I would be removed.
Yeah.
So that's what I said. It just didn't make any sense.
No.
So once I realized that I could take control of my own narrative, and I realized that my family was pretty well deceived by this because we're just taught not to question unequivocally. So you know what I mean? You're taught not to question it. So once I just realized that they're trapped and that I don't have to be trapped, I said, here I am, here I am. I'm fighting for my kids.
I'm going to jump in and say, I'm glad you are questioning. And here's the point is, we always had questions.
We always had questions.
A kid grows up with questions.
Big question was, why is it okay for me to take a blood fraction, but I can't donate blood? That was a big question to me because without the fractions, I wouldn't be able to have my kids. But I can receive them, but I can't give it. I didn't understand that. I always said, or why is it I can give birth to my child at St. Luke's Hospital, but I can't go to the YMCA? I mean, have you guys ever thought of that?
Whoever restricts your questions is your master. Your master is the one that controls your questions.
Yeah.
We grow up as a child, we have questions. Why do we have questions? Because we're built that way. We deserved questions. Answers, we deserve to find our answers. When someone says, I don't want to hear that question, don't ask that question. No, they're restricting you as a human being. Why? To control you. Why?
To control you.
Because they don't love you. Because they want to use you.
They don't love you. No, they just want to use you.
So
and they never got me. So they're doubly pissed that I got all this information and I'm articulate enough to write about it. And they never got me. Like they can't say maybe they'll disfellowship me for apostasy, but
what's it? So
I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Finally, what is amazing about your story is basically you just reached out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And you have done an amazing job. Number one, taking care of your children, number one, and taking care of your own mental health. And I just applaud you, in that short period of time. And I'm so glad that Linda was there for you.
That's right.
She was there for me.
Yes, you were there for each other. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, she really helped me out because I was just so, I'm getting emails. I love you. We miss you. Come back. Let's serve Jehovah together. And I'm like, what did that entail? And when I thought about what it entailed, and I'm like, and I'm just supposed to forget that you guys tried to kill me?
Good Lord.
So, I've taken back my Facebook.
Do you recall the organization? I'll be quiet. Never mind. Go on.
Sorry, what did you say?
Do you recall the organization talking negatively about independent thinking?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's your problem, love. You think independently.
It's worldly.
And it's a really good thing. I'm commending you for that.
The one
That's why you can't make
the
sense of anything.
Yeah, so for example, when I came back divorced and I told one of the elders, I said, I'm divorced. And they said, well, is it scriptural? And I said, absolutely. And they said, what are the grounds? And I said, pornea. And he said, pornea. I said, honey, the Greek word, I said, what he did to my children is pornea. And he was just speechless. And he's like, well, that's for us to decide. It was just so demeaning. I remember crying, like, where do I stand? I can't give, you guys are letting me give comments, but I'm not on the school and I can't pioneer. Why not? Why, what have I done that's so wrong? I just remember pleading with them to let me know where I stood with God. It was so depressing. So it was tough.
When you always remember who you are, you'll never have problems. It's when you forget. It's when you forget, someone enters in and they define who you are. That's the problem. And I say this is true for every one of us. We need to remember who we are. Otherwise, we lose ourselves. We lose ourselves, and someone else takes advantage of us. We can't forget who we are.
And
And it
then,
takes each other to help each other to remember.
oh, yes, ma'am. I remember with the two witnessing. So I remember asking them, because they asked me, you know, is it two witnesses? And I said, so if he cheated on me and then he abused my kids, isn't that two witnesses? Oh no, because it's not the same act.
Oh,
Parties,
wow.
watch out.
Oh, jeez, not the same act.
Yeah, I remember that. And it was just so like, so it's like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? It was traumatizing.
I always found it interesting that if a man and woman were seen coming out of a hotel, going in or coming out of the hotel in the morning, that it was assumed that they had had sex together. With no two witnesses, just seeing them come out. And yet a child can tell what's happened to them, and it's assumed the child is lying, making it up.
Wow.
How does that make any sense?
Oh, boy.
Makes no sense.
It's
Yeah.
just rules,
And
man-made
my
rules.
ex actually had a woman living with him for about 3 or 4 months, and was another sister. And I called and I said, I remember saying like, "Is this okay?" And then the brother told me, "No, no, 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 no. They're just roommates. She's paying rent."
Wow.
I said, "Oh, okay,
Gotta be
okay,
kidding.
cool." I said, "Let me get a roommate, right?"
Yeah, exactly.
Too
Hey,
many double standards.
hey, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but Joe, before your show ends in about 9 minutes, can I respectfully bring up a counter to what you said earlier?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, so two things. One of the things you said was about how a lot of people are leaving religions, right? You made that statement. But I respectfully disagree. And the only reason why is because recently on X, it was a huge debate, like breaking the internet. Everybody had such a strong opinion about so many people joining Catholics or Orthodox Christianity. Like there was an influx of members. So I wanted to ask you this. Is it better to say that like people are leaving cults, not necessarily leaving religion?
Well, again, you got to look at all of them. There are so many leaving the Christian religions. I mean, they are now numbers. I don't know what the numbers are, but these are groups now. But it's true. There are many that are joining Catholic. They were Muslim, now they're Catholic. I understand that. I recognize that. But safe to say, whatever the case, they're disenchanted with whatever they were involved in, and they're leaving it.
Okay. Because sometimes I always want to make the difference. It's like the JWs, they're not a religion. And I
agree, Ruby.
Yeah, like I wish more people would
I know.
would say that, because it's
other
not
religions they're leaving as well. Oh my goodness, there's so many sites where there are people that have left the Catholic, left born again Christian, left, and it's like, why? Because they're waking up.
Okay, all right, that's fair. Okay, then the second thing is, and I really want you to do a separate episode about this, Joe, because this is not the first time you've said this, and I respectfully disagree. When you say, well, who says if something is true or not? Or whose truth is it? Is it your truth, my truth, the truth? And I really want you to do an episode about that, because I disagree. I think there is a black and white, there is a truth and a false, and that those things are objective, not subjective. So I just wanted to like bring that up, maybe like a show idea for you, if you could talk more about the truth and what is the truth.
Wow. Okay.
I'm sorry. I know I'm just a help,
No,
but I
no,
don't want to bother
thank
you.
you, Ruby. We
no,
appreciate.
this thing's gone on forever and it will continue. So it's good.
Yes,
it's good.
Good question. Very
Yeah.
good.
I reflect on Pilate, who was a politician, and he
What
asked
is
Jesus,
truth?
"What is truth?"
You know,
He didn't know. He didn't know, apparently.
Sometimes the biggest voice has the truth.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Can I
biggest
ask
ham-
you,
How about-
I want to agree with you because there is an influx of Christians coming into this country. And I watched something the other day that the Catholic religion is growing.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of agree with Ruby on
Is
this.
that because of the new pope, you think?
No, this was happening before he came on board.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just
but
wondered.
many are leaving though too. So in other words, there's a
More
tremendous
coming than
readjustment.
leaving. More coming than leaving.
Well, does that? So what?
But
so
she's right. The JWs is an occult. They're not listed as a religion, but the Catholic Church is definitely listed as a religion. So Ruby's absolutely correct. They are a religion. The JWs are not. It's a
Right.
big difference.
Yeah.
Again, why are they changing?
Because everybody wants, because I think it's our spirituality is embedded in us, and we all.
Well, why didn't they stay with their spiritual?
Because we were all
religion?
bamboozled with them.
So, in other words, they were banned. Now they're going to find that what's real.
I'm
Okay.
looking. I'm searching. I'm not going to lie. I'm searching.
That's it. See, that's it. That's it.
I'm
It's a
searching for
search.
another church.
And you're doing
That's
you're doing Gail's search, right?
Yes.
And Ruby is doing Ruby's.
Yeah.
And Joe's doing Joe's, and
Yeah,
Richard's
and
doing
everyone's
Richard.
doing theirs.
Everyone has.
I'm not
And
looking
now-
for another church. I'm just going to be myself. I
There
can't
you
do it
go.
anymore.
Dude,
I
just
can't do
remember-
it anymore.
I just have to.
Any more churches? I'm done.
I
with
just
churches.
have to
Me too.
remember that.
Honestly, besides the fact that I'm probably weird because I grew up a JW, I can't afford the tithe. Okay, so and that's the real truth.
If I could afford, I'm not tied.
That
That
was
was
finally free.
Oh.
That's it.
Personal
Well,
choice,
I
man.
understand why you feel that way. She's giving
Personal
through
choice.
the mill with the JW. I can understand why you feel that way. I mean, I didn't leave God. I left an organization. I did not leave God. I never did.
Exactly.
I was
Amen.
a Christian
I
before I
leave God.
became
Amen.
a JW, and I'm a Christian now. I just don't know where to go, and I'm searching. But I do God in my own.
I'm gonna make a statement that maybe we'll pick it up later. But I left God. I left the guardians of dogma. G-O-D.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, me too.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
as far as source, maybe source is different.
Source.
So just
The divine.
again, this is where distinctions come in, and it's good because
Yeah.
humans make distinctions. It's okay. It's good.
Can I ask Ruby something? You were asking Joe to have a show regarding black and white, whether something's right or wrong. Am I understanding that correctly?
No. I want him to
Well,
explain.
now, wait a minute. No, wait. You can't. Okay.
The
go
truth.
ahead.
The truth.
It's a good topic because Joe has said this multiple times, and every single time I come on and I respectfully disagree because he's
Okay.
always
I'm
said
sorry,
those
I just-
terms.
I don't understand what the term. What I'm wanting to understand the terms. I agree. He said that, and I'm just
Mhm.
asking you help me understand what this show would be about. Like, can you say that again?
Well, I would love I love the way Joe explains things, so I want his angle on the word and the definition of truth when he says
boy.
things like your truth, my truth, the truth. Who says what's true or not? Because those things can be subjective.
That's right.
Whereas I believe it can be objective, where something is the truth and it doesn't matter what I feel about it. It's the truth.
That's interesting.
And I love the way Joe talks. So I want him to do an episode about that.
Boy, it sounds like a trap. but yes, no,
You're right.
honestly, I think
Yeah.
it's-
Joe, you're
no,
into this
It's
one.
the
You were
difference
into this
between.
one.
no,
So it's
I
the
think-
difference
I
between
truly think
objective and what? I'm really trying to understand this. It's I'm not objective and subjective. Okay.
Yes,
Objective and absolute.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. That's and I want Joe's perspective. I like
Fine.
the way he talks. I like the way he
Objective
explains
and
things. I think that topic is a great one for him and for us too.
See,
do we have to agree with him?
Oh my God.
Yeah, but Fran disagreed, right? I'm just kidding.
I'm still listening.
I think we're going to be exposed as new words. That's what I think. And
I think we're all getting punch drunk and tired.
No, Ruby. No, I agree. I think it's going to help us come up with new words for what we're thinking.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's great.
Because sometimes the words don't work. The old words don't
Right.
work.
Ruby wants to tell us what the movie is.
Movie time.
Oh, yes, everybody. So on Discord, we are going to be watching Footloose from 1984. And I do know this movie. I love it.
Dancing.
I know, it's amazing. And the suggestion comes from no other than my good wife from Fixing My Faith channel.
Wow.
So I'm so happy she gave us this suggestion. If anybody has other suggestions, just go on the Discord server. There's a tab that is solely for suggestions, and I am working hard and booking all these movies because this is what I love to do. I love to watch movies, especially with you guys. We are catching up on the culture that we don't know of. Well, some of us, because some of us were so isolated. So I'm catching up with American culture with you guys. So Footloose is a great movie. So we're going to watch that at 10 o'clock.
Can you post the Discord server in the chat? I'd like to I have Discord installed on my other, but can you post the Discord server ID in the chat?
Yes,
Thank
of
you
course.
so much. Okay, well, I'll have Marissa take a snapshot of it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you for all
Seriously,
coming on. We
thank you.
really
Thank you.
appreciate all your comments,
Good night, everybody.
disagreements, whatever.
Good night, Richard.
Love you.
Good
Good night, everybody.
And
Bye.
thank you. Finally
Nighty
free.
night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you all. Thank you, Vernon, Shauna. Thank you,
Yes, and
Shauna.
Ruby, thank
And
you.
Ruby. Yeah, they're all backstage.
Right on. Just want to give a shout out to Ruby. Thank you very much for your support with the show. Appreciate it. And Joe and Fran, I'd like to thank you guys on behalf of everybody watching for your time again this week. We really appreciate it and look forward to this get together. So hope everybody has a great week. And what do we say, or we used to say on that other channel?
Keep living your life
with love.
Right on, guys.
Love
Have
you
a great
all.
week, everybody.
Peace
Night.
out.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Joe,
in making friends.
I want people, thank you for this.